is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, everyone. Got a lot to cover, no doubt about it. Okay. I need to get in there. Yeah.
Whatever's going on with this mouse is like.
Oh, it's because I probably got it on something over here. Which one is it? Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. Oh, yeah, we got a lot to cover today, no doubt about it. A lot to cover. One, two. Irony Rose, 8 months as a member. Thank you. Welcome. I gotta turn the air down. It's a little hot in here. If you're on hold already, hang in there. Show hasn't started yet. Oh man, yeah, today, I went to the doctor yesterday. Roy, $5 super sticker, thank you so much. And, I have cut my coffee back. I'm going to talk about this on the air today because it's, today's a strange day. Yeah, I'll be back at my studio tomorrow. It's just a strange day because I cut out my caffeine on the ship Thursday last week. And since I've been back, my coffee consumption is down about like 90%. And today, I feel like normal, which I'm not used to doing, because I'm used to feeling like I'm on the verge of a heart attack. So it's really a strange thing to be feeling. Does that make sense?
Spot something on the traffic tip line. Pound 250 keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Ron Hersey.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is your best bet for super.
Let me check and make sure that's working. Hold on.
Check out Oaklawn's Apple Blossom Handicap,
Test.
the Maker's Mark Mile.
Otterdale on.
No.
No.
Perfect place to catch all the OTB and sports action with over 140 HDTVs and delicious food.
Okay.
And make plans now to be here for the Kentucky Derby Fest May 3rd with barbecue, music, hat contests, mini jewels, and more. For more info,
Oh. Holy smokes. It sure is. Welcome, one and all. Caught me off guard there, Jeremy. This is, I don't know. We seem to be coming on the air earlier. When Mike's off today, he'll be back tomorrow. Caught me off guard. My name's Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. It is Wednesday already, and we've got a lot to cover. And I'm going to cover a lot of things, including there's a message from Dan Bongino, which I'm going to share in a few minutes. And that is, it's a very important message, no doubt about that. And it's something that we got to cover. We're going to, of course, cover what's going on with China and the tariffs. And then Pete Hegseth yesterday said we're taking the Panama Canal, which should have happened a long time ago. And we're going to cover all of that, take your calls, and there's a whole bunch of other things in between too, including the takedown of Adam Schiff by President Trump last night. We're going to play all of that, share it, talk about it, and have a good time, because this is just a time to celebrate. A lot of MAGA Republicans are griping. And this message from Dan Bongino, the reason I'm sharing this is because I saw something that someone posted about Pam Bondi on X. And I've been telling you, there's a lot of people that are MAGA that are not very patient. They're losing their patience because, they wanted a bunch of arrests. We all want these lawfare people arrested, but it hasn't happened yet, and people are losing patience. And there's a post that I saw. It was of Pam Bondi, and I'd never heard of this guy that posted this, but it's gotten a lot of action. And people are talking this way all over X about Pam Bondi, and I like Pam Bondi. We had her as a guest on the show long ago, and she's of course a Florida girl and all that stuff. But this is what they wrote: Pam Bondi is on Fox News again. And then they wrote this: 0 Democrats arrested, 0 Democrats investigated, 0 Democrats indicted. Well, I didn't know they were on the inside of the Pam Bondi team to have all this information. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't just losing patience with Pam Bondi. They're starting to attack her. So I pulled up what Dan Bongino has said, which I will get to in a few minutes, but this is what you have to understand. You're never going to have an experience like you're having right now. We are winning on every issue. This thing with China is going to get pretty hot, and China's not going to cave too quickly. But we're going to win on all of this. In fact, it's been said by the president himself that there's delegations from countries all over the world, including a special delegation from South Korea, to meet with the White House to negotiate these trade deals. And the Koreans want to help us with the China negotiations, since they're so close to China and have to deal with them. So things are going well. I mean, perfect. With the amount of winning that's going on is at a level that not only have none of us ever experienced in our lifetime, we're never going to experience winning like this again. It's just never going to happen, because there's never going to be another Trump. There'll be other MAGA presidents and stuff, but there'll never be another Donald Trump. Okay? And that's the way it is. Before he was president, he was one of the most famous people in the world and most well-respected business people and all that. You guys know this. There will never be another Donald Trump. So instead of sitting around whining and griping, sometimes people think these influencers, this is, I really, when I see these influencers, and I talk about a few all the time like Candace Owens, but when I see a lot of these influencers voice their opinions on these things, it reminds me of me when I started out, doing this a long time ago. And I was very young. I was like in my late teens. And I was talking about news and issues like I'm doing today, but I didn't have really an understand. I thought I did. Because when you're young, you think you know everything. I thought I had an understanding of everything, and I didn't. I had no perspective. And these influencers, they have some following online, and they think there's some type of world policy analyst or something. They think they're Henry Kissinger because they have some followers on Instagram or TikTok or something. They don't know what they're talking about. They have zero perspective. And you've got to be patient. Don't let the influencers, don't let the media make you think things are not happening, because things are happening at a level that are so fast that who could even keep up with it, really? Now, the main issue going on now with China with these trade negotiations, China is not going to cave anytime soon. It's going to be difficult. China's a communist military police state. The government of China is not accustomed to negotiating, even with the United States, because with the United States, they own so many of our politicians, right? Like Swalwell with the Feng Feng, you know how they got to him. But a lot of them, like Biden, and McConnell, they own so many American politicians, China. They have an expectation from these people that they own to stop Trump and to get their way. They're not accustomed to not getting their way. So they're not going to cave anytime soon. So what? What Trump's doing right now has got to be done. It's got to be done. These countries have been, I don't have to tell you guys, everybody knows this. They've been ripping us off. They have these crazy import-export taxes going on us. They're ripping us off. China's the worst. And, China, they have this developing nation status, which is so out of date. They're not in the Stone Ages anymore, okay? This isn't the 50s or the 60s. They're no longer a developing nation, but they get all these breaks because of it. Plus, they're ripping us off, not just by taking all of our businesses, but on the import-export taxes, the tariffs. And all President Trump is doing is equalizing everything. Everybody knows this. There's nothing that Trump is doing that is outrageous or out of line or inappropriate. Everything he's doing is, in fact, very appropriate. And everyone knows this. So you got to be a little patient. Now, after the first break, I'll get into the message from Dan Bongino. I will take a call or two here early, but, come on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Joanne from Pamela.
Hey, Joanne.
Wondering, since yesterday, your station is not broadcasting. I have 3 different radios. My call.
Which one of our stations do you listen on?
96.9.
I don't know. You got to check into that, Jeremy. I don't know. I'll have them look into it.
Yeah, somebody check it because right now I'm hearing you on my phone.
Yeah.
On the station. It's like somebody's pounding a nail. It's really weird, and it's been since yesterday.
Okay. I'll look into it. All right. What city are you in? Oh, Tamarack. Tamarack. Okay. All right. We'll check it out. All right. I appreciate it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, every country is coming to the Trump table, and they are going to pay their fair share. China may be last, but they will come around because I believe he's doing it to save face with his people, but he is going to do exactly what Trump tells him to do. And I don't believe there's a country, even Iran, you aren't hearing a bunch of stuff coming from Iran anymore because they know who's in the White House now, and they're not going to harm another American soldier. No,
that's right. I mean, people just, some of it comes with age, there's people just aren't patient, and I know that things are moving faster than they've ever moved before, but I think a lot of people out there that are millennial and younger, they don't think things are moving fast enough. They don't have any idea what's going on. I mean, we don't even have his whole staff in yet. Come on.
And I don't believe we know the half of what President Trump is doing. There's a lot going on, like you said, behind the scenes. And I believe by the end, you know how you start with a snowball to make a snowman? It's that effect. It's going to roll and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the end of the first year, we're going to see a whole new country because we're going to be drilling everywhere they told us not to. And then when that oil hits the ground, that's going to change the whole economy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know a lot of people are talking about the taxes. They haven't gotten to the tax bills yet, but they will. And my guess is the tax bills, they're going to use that in the midterms. James Carville yesterday gave an interview and said that Trump's going to declare martial law before the midterms. Well, that tells me that James Carville, who's a top Democrat insider, that the DNC polls are predicting a Democrat defeat in the midterms. So they're already making excuses.
That's a good point. How can the American people, when they watch everything in America, the stock market does, what's it called, predictions, or not predictions, but...
What's the futures?
Yeah, and they're not even... They didn't even drop that low, and they've already bounced back some. Can you imagine when we're energy independent again, and all the countries are paying their fair share, and our taxes go down, and our money value goes up? That right there is going to change our whole economy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we are being ripped off. No, the only this thing with China could drag out for a long time. Okay, it really could, because the Chinese are tyrants. Okay, they're dictators. They kill their own people. Okay, and we know what they did 5 years ago. So what he's doing with China is risky and dangerous, but he'll win.
And the Houthis that was attacking our ships and other ships, between Trump and Israel and the strategic bombing that happened, you haven't heard nothing about them in the news lately. And all our enemies are knowing that's what's coming if they do anything. We want our enemies to fear us, and we want those that we support and help pay their fair share. Tariffs work for the short term to get people to do what President Trump wants them to do.
That's right. It sure does. It sure does.
We are in the beginnings of a new golden era in Maine. In America, I'm sorry.
Well, Maine too.
Maine politicians are shaking in their boots because they know that President Trump and clean up the red states. These red states are not going to get away with it. And can I say one thing on?
You mean the blue states?
Sorry, the blue states. Thank you for correcting me. But when he was talking about coal, Natalie Winters did an interview with one of those coal miners and Steve Bannon said, ask him this question: what is it about the new coal technology that makes a difference? And that guy made a brilliant explanation of what's going on with the coal. Coal was making 48% of our lives, and it was down, I think he said 18%. That's what Biden did. And bringing coal back is going to affect gas and oil prices.
Yeah, we have more coal than any other country in the world, and more natural gas and more oil too. We have more oil than the OPEC nations. Yeah.
Equipment underground and what's going on already. I mean, you can't keep up with what Trump's doing. Isn't it awesome to have a president that puts America first and is going to rebuild our military, redo education? He's doing everything.
Mm-hmm. And they hate him. Well, they hate the country, right? You know, yesterday, I'm going to play this clip later, but yesterday Schumer was asked to condemn the Tesla violence and he wouldn't do it. He said, I can't talk about Tesla. Well, you can't say that blowing up Tesla dealerships is bad, Schumer? I mean, what the hell? I couldn't believe.
I believe the Trump administration was looking into making that domestic terrorism.
Yeah, they are. Well, listen, Jeff. I'm late for the break, but good call. I appreciate the call. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott on the radio reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning on the True Oldies channel.
If you're on hold, hang in there, guys.
Hi, this is Maureen from Nutrition World in Palm Beach Gardens. Listen to our friend Terry and his show Terry Talks Nutrition, Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. Terry will share the latest on health and nutrition with you. It's Terry Talks Nutrition, Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. right here on the True Oldies channel.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious. Crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade. Nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of the road.
Let's face it, times are tough. You've worked hard for your money, and now more than ever, you need to protect your money and make it last. Now is the time to review your 401k, IRA, or money you want to protect and make safer. Go to jupiterjoe.com. Let's talk about retirement, or call 561-743-0999. Again, jupiterjoe.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM.
Alrighty, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll go back to the phones. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kenny, calling from Minnesota.
All right, speak up, Minnesota.
I just want to talk about like the vision, you know.
What? You want to talk about what?
Vision.
The vision?
Going.
Okay.
It seems real hard right now, but it's going to get better. It's going to take a couple of years.
Are you talking about your personal life, or are you talking about the tariff trade deals with Trump?
No, exactly. I'm talking about everything going on in the government right now.
No, I agree. Now, things aren't going bad at all. Things are going perfectly. These are great times.
I mean, it's. What do you mean? It's not going real great on paper. Like,
Really? What's not going well right now? What's not going well?
majority of people who look at it, they're not seeing it.
That's not true. The majority of the country just elected President Trump. So that's not true. Give me an example of something that's not going well.
Oh man, all the trainings are getting hated on.
Who? Transgender? Who's getting hated on? Oh, I hear the laughing. Oh my goodness. I mean, come on. Come on. How old are you, really? Don't lie.
14.
14? Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to the next caller. All right. Oh, it's fine? Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. 14. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Tammy, and I'm calling from Kansas.
Hey, Tammy in Kansas. What's up?
I know this is a little off topic, but I do feel it's an important issue to be addressed. Children's services in sanctuary cities are allowing illegal immigrants to be foster care and adoptive parents to children.
Well, first off, it's not Open Phones. Open Phones is on Friday. But that's all being, but they're deporting all the illegals.
I did send a video to your podcast, and it's pending, so I'm hoping you receive it.
What do you mean you sent me, where did you send me a video? Oh, on Twitter?
Immigrant, he was able to become a foster care parent to 2 little boys, in which he was raping and murdered them. American children, an illegal immigrant being able to be a foster care parent and adopt these little boys, and then he turns around and.
Well, that's another one of the Biden Kamala dreamers. Yeah. All right, Kansas. I appreciate the call. Yeah, I know these are all terrible things. So let me get to this message from Bongino, because the reason I shared this, a caller referenced this actually on the show yesterday. So I went and looked it up, and there's been all this talk of we're not seeing any action. We're not seeing any action from Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi. And people had this expectation that there was going to be this nationwide roundup and all these Democrats and Lawfare people were going to be arrested. Now, first of all, you just don't want to, this is not the French Revolution, okay? You don't want to go around and just arrest people because they are not MAGA. I mean, that's crazy. But there are a lot of people that will be arrested and should be arrested, but you don't want to do it in the Lawfare way they did it. Grand juries are secret, and when they give indictments, a lot of times they're sealed because there's larger investigations, and there's a lot of investigations going on. You've got to be patient. So Dan Bongino a couple days ago posted this on his X. Listen to this. This is Dan Bongino, April 6th. He posted this. Heading back, let me see what time is. Yeah, we got time. Headed back to DC today after spending a day back home with my wife and daughter. As I dive back into work, by the way, I must tell you this. I do not like that word dive. I see that used all the time now. That's like one of the most. Every 5 years, there's these words and phrases that everyone uses, right? Use 24/7, that went out. The notion that, you used to hear that a lot. Dive is the new one. But anyway, as I dive back into work, and I want to reassure you that nothing that is happening here is happening by accident. Because of the sensitivity of what the FBI deals with, both the director and I, that's Kash Patel, have to be circumspect in what we can make public. Bad guys read this stuff too. Neither one of us came here to play games. Measure us by results. You will see them. But just because you don't see something happening right this second doesn't mean it isn't happening. I'll conclude by stating that not every result is going to please everyone. That's just pandering. It's not leadership. Complex problems require diligence and a reform-oriented process to create lasting changes, or else you're simply putting a bandage on a gushing wound. Let's do it right. God bless America, and to all of those who defend her, Dan. So he said, measure us by results, you will see them. But just because you don't see something happening right this second doesn't mean it's not happening. So that means that Bongino is listening to all of the impatient people out there that want everybody arrested yesterday. Okay, this is the United States, not the Soviet Union. This isn't Castro's Cuba. You don't come in the office and just go and arrest the political opposition. That's what they were doing to Trump. That's the lawfare. And he walked away from a $12 million a year business to do this. I think he walked away from that not to get something done. Of course, he didn't walk away from that to not get something done. And I take him at his word. And all of these things involving the lawfare and who needs to be arrested and who should go to jail, no one knows more about who that is and what they've done than Dan Bongino. He's been covering that with his sources and federal law enforcement for the last 4 years. You guys know this, okay? So if you can't trust Dan Bongino, who can you trust, really, when it comes to this? So just calm down, and stop being so impatient. And don't let these self-important conservative influencer metrosexuals who, in their skinny pants and their skinny jeans, tell you that nothing's happening, okay? Because Dan Bongino says things are happening. Okay, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Now, here's the True Oldies weather forecast.
The current weather is a mostly 67 degrees, and later on this afternoon we will see a high of 79 degrees, accompanied by some clouds, some breeze, and perhaps some afternoon showers. And later on this evening it will be partly cloudy with a few showers as well, accompanied by a low of 65 degrees. And tomorrow's going to be a high of 80 with a couple morning showers.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check, brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Emergency vehicles are reportedly still on the scene of an earlier structure fire. It's affecting Okeechobee Boulevard west of Military Trail. There's construction on Forest Hill Boulevard at Haverhill Road. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. Pound 250, keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Ron Hersey.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. This April it's raining money in the poker room with new high hands every 15 minutes every day from 9 a.m. to midnight, and a chance to win $15,000 in cash giveaways. Plus, mega backbeat jackpots and table games featuring Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum bet. The Moneymaker Tour returns April 30th through May 13th with over $500,000 in guarantees, 27 trophy events, and more. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
This is Dr. Phil Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Pompano Beach for 40 years. We're open 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, you have bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it, well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections. There's no medication. There's no surgery. There's none of that. It's strictly either the laser, the acupuncture I do, or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Tom Laporta and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At LaPorta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at laportaroofing.com. Trust the experts who have been protecting homes like yours for generations. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie. Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All right, welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian. It's Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Brian.
Yes.
Yes, hi. How are you? It's Laura.
Yes, Laura.
Listen, yes, hi. I'm calling you about the Cambodia situation. I'm sorry to say. I mean, I don't think Laura Loomer, she's like an influencer. Laura Loomer, she is really, really, really mad at Pam Bundy. She's so mad that she said that Laura Loomer said that Pam Bundy, she even blocked her. And she was really mad because they cannot, when you're a public figure, you cannot block people. That's what she was telling. So it's a problem because let me ask you something that's very important. When Biden won, or whatever, Biden, okay, when it was Biden, I don't know the name of the attorney, the general attorney of that time. I don't know her name.
It was Mary Garland.
Okay, Mary Garland. She didn't wait 6. And it's gonna.
Mary Garland was a man. I know he was effeminate, but he was a man.
Okay, I don't know, but I know that this attorney general, she didn't wait 6 months. She went all in at, I think, the day 1. And that's why people honestly.
Well, you're calling me from France, right?
So what? What is it? So what?
Well, no. I mean, calm down. I mean, gee whiz. Okay, I'm just trying to explain to you the way the system works. Okay, first of all, the Justice Department under Biden was a criminal justice department. They didn't go about things properly. Okay, so that's why we called it lawfare. That's why a lot of them are going to end up going to prison. What Pam Bondi is doing is you're talking about putting away in prison very powerful and influential people. Well, this isn't that, like I said earlier, this is not the French Revolution, okay? There's a process. Exactly, all right? This is, okay, exactly. This is not the reign of terror, all right? Okay? I know, I studied my French history in college. I know all about all that. But, so there's a process, and I promise you, there are, just according to Bongino, there's investigations going on. They have to interview witnesses. They have to collect evidence. They go to grand juries, which are secret. Now, the Mary Garland and others, they were leaking things out of secret grand juries, which is illegal. So there's secret grand juries in place, and one day you're going to turn on the news and there's going to be indictments. It's just not going to happen on your time frame.
Yeah, but it's not me only, Brian. As I said, it's Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer, she is so mad. Like every day, she's asking for Pam Bundy to change, that they change her.
Well, listen. I told you guys for weeks and weeks that Loomer was working for Trump in secret, and then they came out last week about it. Okay, and I always tell you guys, I'm friends with Laura Loomer. I've known her for many years. But the women around Trump, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Pam Bondi, and others, they don't like her. And there's a lot of palace intrigue in the court of President Trump, in the MAGA court, and women typically don't work well together. So there's always conflict among. I never hear about conflicts from any of Trump's male staff in Loomer, just women.
Elon Musk with Navarro is started.
Well, she doesn't like Elon Musk. I'll give you that one. That's the exception.
No, Elon Musk. No. Elon Musk with Navarro. You know who is
Elon Musk what?
Elon Musk with this other person of the administration. I think his name is Navarro.
Peter Navarro.
Yeah, so now Elon Musk is starting to insult. He's tweeting that he's a jerk, so I don't know.
Well, maybe he doesn't get along with them well. I don't know, but I know that, you know, Peter Navarro got arrested for his support of Trump. They put him in John Hinckley's cell in the D.C. jail. I mean, you know, I interviewed him about it here on the program. I've had him on this program many times. Don't worry about these personal conflicts between Loomer and Bondi. You know, Loomer's, you know, I trust everything Loomer says and reports, but you know, I trust Dan Bongino too, and Dan Bongino says a lot's happening behind the scenes.
Okay, I hope very, but just before I leave, you remember, you know, the show The View? There is this Latino that she says she's a Republican. Do you know her name?
Anna Navarro?
No. The View, the show, The View.
Yeah, I know.
Latino. Okay, what's the name of this Latino that she says that she's Republican?
Anna Navarro.
Oh, okay. All right. So this woman, she said when there was mass gays, they were all going nuts. But then when it was Pam Bondi, she was so happy, and that is why many people then said, "Ooh la la, let's make sure she's not a rhino." I mean Pam Bondi, because she started to say, "Oh, I like Pam Bondi. I talked to her. She's very nice." If the View likes Pam Bondi, I said, "Ooh la la, there is a problem."
No, there's no problem, because Anna Navarro is from Florida. Her husband is one of the, for years, has been one of the leaders of the Florida Republican Party. Pam Bondi is a Florida Republican, okay, and they're friends. They know each other through that. So no, you're reading too much into that.
Anyway, I hope what you're saying, we're gonna wait, but I hope it's before the midterm, at least, you know.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'd like it to have been yesterday too, but I trust in Dan Bongino. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Paula from New Jersey.
Hey, Paula.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to say, did you hear Trump yesterday say that that Doge found something really horrible, but that he wasn't going to talk about it yet? He wasn't ready to talk about it yet?
Yeah, something big. I didn't hear horrible. I heard something big, but...
They use that word, and anyway, at the same time, I think Elon made a tweet towards who was it? It was Schumer. It was Schumer. Schumer had tweeted something nasty about Elon, and then Elon responded at around the same time. Trump mentioned this big news that Doge found. That could it be that you're saying these things because you've been getting money? You've been taking it down?
Well, Schumer has done nothing but work for the government. When he graduated law school, he immediately started working for state government, and he's worth over $80 million. So come on. Of course he's on the take.
But I don't know. I just got the feeling maybe it would be. But I know Trump kind of likes Schumer, so who knows?
I don't think he likes Schumer. He just has to tolerate him. I mean, he knows him because he's New York, you know. I wouldn't say nobody likes Schumer.
So, like, my question is, like, what could be bigger than having millions of people illegal on Social Security and Medicare and voting in the election?
I don't think that's what it is. They did. Elon Musk said a few days ago that they found something, that Doge found something big with Social Security numbers, with tens of millions of Social Security numbers, and there would be an arrest soon.
Else besides that. That's what I was getting.
Well, from my experience, unless you get more specifics from like Trump or somebody, you know, when you try to guess what someone is talking, you're always wrong. There's just not enough information to say, well, it's this, it's that. No, I can think of a lot of terrible things that's been going on. You know, it's not an accident that they got, these people that are over 300 years old on the rolls. All that money's going, all those numbers are being used for something. The money's going somewhere.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? I think you're making a good point, reminding everybody that Trump hasn't even been in office 100 days yet. So I imagine that, Pam Bondi and Cash, they're prioritizing. They probably have a long list, and they're trying to prioritize what's most important and
They could already have a stack of indictments from grand juries that are sealed that we don't know about. See, what they're not doing, and this is where people are missing out. They don't care about the media, the Trump administration, so they're not leaking anything out. They've got a very tight ship, so we don't know what's going on because they're not leaking anything out. Listen, if you can't trust Trump, and he picked Pam Bondi, okay, and he also picked Loomer and Bongino and all these people, who can you trust? If you can't trust these people, you can't trust anyone. We got a lot of our MAGA people that are recovered liberals, and they want to be victims and losers. If you cannot trust these people, you can trust no one. You might as well just give up.
Laura Loomer doing for Trump? What did he hire her for?
Well, he didn't hire her. She's an investigative reporter. I mean, she uncovers all kinds of things about different officials. She just got she found out a whole bunch of things about Judge Boasberg and his family. She found out something about one of the NSC guys that got Trump to dump him, the other day. She doesn't work for him officially. She's working for him. I mean, she had a meeting with him at the White House last week. She had a private meeting with him at the White House. So no, I knew this was going on for months, and I could tell. And yeah, but a lot of people around Trump and his insider circle, they don't like her, which I don't understand. I mean, she's an in-your-face kind of person on TV, but she is. If you got to know her, she's very normal and sweet. I mean, she's like 30 years old. She's not like in your face nasty. She's very polite and respectful, and I've known her for years. Yeah, I've known her for many years. Yeah, she's a good friend of mine. Yeah.
What's going on there then?
What do you mean?
She definitely rubs people the wrong way.
Because she exposes things. And she, and a lot of times people she uncovers things people don't want uncovered. She goes places where people don't want to, that's why she's totally independent. She doesn't work for Breitbart, she doesn't work for InfoWars, she's not with the Gateway Pundit. She doesn't work for any of these organizations. Even these very conservative online news outlets are afraid to be connected with Loomer because of the things she uncovers.
Gotcha. Okay. We're waiting, and I can't wait for the arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that they do a thorough investigation into January 6th, because that is such baloney that happened.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call. All right. Let's take our last break of the first hour.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire and Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Push Ink Tattoo Studio reminds us that alcohol-related driving accidents claim thousands of lives each year. When you take to our roads, use the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and common sense, because safe and sober driving is everybody's responsibility. This message is courtesy of Push Ink Tattoo Studio, family-owned and operated, serving the community with pride and integrity since 2010. That's Push Ink Tattoo Studio, on the air because they care. Asking all listeners to arrive alive, don't drink and drive.
We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Linda Green, I just received my 7th and 8th set of Make Lindell sheets. This time we got flannel ones, which we had never had. I got one for my husband for Christmas. He loves them. Oh my God. And especially with the cold days and nights we've been having the last few months in Florida, I got 2 more. I send them to my friends for Christmas now, and they just love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I have the flannels too. You know, like Goldilocks. They keep you the same temperature all night long.
Yes. So, perfect. The guy just has a great product.
The thing with Mike Lindell sheets, all of them, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly on the mattress. Every other sheet, you can't get the 4 corners on. And it's almost impossible. Even after having them for years and washing them, I don't know how many times, they still fit perfectly.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You're probably going to be on the next My Pillow commercial, just so you know, okay? Because
okay.
Okay, just to let you know. You've got Linda Boynton. She loves her My Pillow sheets. Order yours right now at a huge discount. Use our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com.
They're still at extreme lows comparatively. Listen to the Ellis Market Report and Money Talk Radio weekdays 9:30 a.m. on True Oldies channel.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig, of Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I want to talk to you about the Sloman's free doorbell camera offer, guys. If you've not gotten this yet, come on. And it also makes a great gift for your kids, right? For their house, their apartment. Makes a great gift for mom and dad as well. You know, you can get a free doorbell camera from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. You know, we have this Sloman system here at the radio station, and it's really, you know, we have to have really good security at the radio station. You hear some of these nice people, they call me, right? Give them a call, get your free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. The number is easy to remember, 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right, so last night, President Trump was on fire. Let me pull this up. This is President Trump talking about Adam Schiff, who's a real slee. Is there anyone sleazier in Washington than Adam Schiff? Especially since the Bidens have left. Listen to this. This was really amazing. Let me pull this up.
And that's with all of the difficulties and all of the fake investigations and the Adam Shifty Schiffs. Can you believe this guy? He's got the smallest neck I've ever seen. And the biggest head. We call him watermelon head. I'd say, how could that big fat face stand on a neck that looked like this finger? How can it? It was the weirdest thing. It's a mystery. Nobody can understand it. But he's one of the most dishonest human beings I've ever seen. And you know how we can allow people like that to run an office is a shame, but we did. He was in charge of the witch hunt. You know, he was in charge of the fake witch hunt with Russia. It was a made-up story. Made up. Think of it. They make up a story. They know it's made up. It's gone on for a year and a half, 2 years. Russia. I knew nothing about it. The only thing I knew is that I taxed the pipeline that I told you about, that I put all sorts of sanctions and everything else. They never had a problem like they had with me. But it was Russia, constant, as a method of, what they did, is that was the complaint about why she lost an election. Because crooked Hillary was expected to win the election. But they didn't see what we saw. We saw the biggest crowds in history gathering, only superseded by the crowds we just had. But here's a guy that goes out, and he goes to an intelligence hearing, or whatever you might call it, and it's supposed to be secret. He'd walk out, he'd either make a call off the record, just as crooked Adam, shifty Schiff. He's a shifty Adam. Or he'd just go out blatantly and have a news conference. And because it had to do with me and my family, he'd go out and have a news conference. And he said, now you've got to remember, he knows it's a hoax because he made it up with crooked Hillary. So he knows it's a hoax because we're dealing with human beings on the other side. He'd say, Donald Trump Jr., the son of the President of the United States, will spend many years in prison because of what he's done with Russia. Now, think of that statement on a human basis. I have a young son, who was being told that he's going for prison on something he doesn't even know what they're talking about. He said, Dad, I don't know what's going on. They keep talking about I'm involved with Russia. I don't know anything about Russia, I swear to you, Dad. And yet, Adam Schiff goes out and makes a statement about a hoax that he made up, that he knows is false. How bad a human being do you have to be? They put my son and my family through that kind of trauma. These are bad people. These are sick degenerates.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's so true. And, you know, I was talking yesterday about how, and still no one's picked up on this. I saw more stories about this today, about Michelle Obama's podcast failing, that no one's listening to it. And I was talking yesterday about how if USAID had not been dismantled by Doge, that Michelle Obama's podcast would be the most downloaded podcast in the world, beating Joe Rogan. It'd be number one. Because USAID would have poured money into it to get the bot listens, right? Well, the same goes for this, you know, the Adam Schiff and these fake lies. You know, if USAID were not shut down, all these lies that they're trying to get off the ground in front of these Tesla dealerships, or these lunatics that are talking about the tariffs and everything, USAID would be using their money to get bots tweeting about it and filling up social media. And even this morning, there would be a massive response to that comment of President Trump about Adam Schiff, and the social media would be filled with Russia stuff from bots paid for by USAID. And if you notice, there's really no response that's meaningful to anything that Trump's doing anymore, and it's because USAID is gone. It's amazing to me. You know, this story that's coming out about the furniture, it seems so trivial, even though it's billions of dollars. They bought all new furniture and redecorated offices where no one was working. And I'm sure you've seen the story. The level of corruption in the government, you know, you see this, you know, tax day's coming up, right? And people got to pay their taxes. You got to pay your taxes. And I remember Obama saying this all the time, but Democrats always say this. They say, oh yeah, you know, Republicans want tax cuts, but how are they going to pay for them? You know, when we go into the midterms and President Trump and the Republicans have the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, no tax on interest payments on loans on American cars. And remember, Letnick said, was it Letnick that said a couple weeks ago? It was someone in the Trump cabinet said that President Trump's goal is no income tax on people making under $150,000 a year. You know? And the Democrats are going to have to argue against taxes and tax cuts, permanent tax cuts, when Doge has been exposing all of this, just quadrillions of dollars in waste, like this furniture story that's going on right now. We have never witnessed in our lifetimes the end of one of the major parties, but we're about to now. And the Democrats, none of them are smart enough to get on board and say the right thing about some of these things. They should, of course, be outraged about the furniture story, but they're not. I'm wondering if they're going to have a big government thrift sale. They should, with all the furnishings. But you know, who would be in favor of this furniture, this billions of dollars in furniture they bought scam? Who would be in favor of that? Well, the Democrats, you know, and that's why they're going to continue to lose. Remember what Kennedy said to Hannity last night with AOC? He says their strategy against AOC, it's called Operation Let Her Talk. You know, let the Democrats keep doing what they're doing. There's no need to respond to them. They're doing themselves in. Now, I want to tell you guys about Mike Lindell and, of course, MyPillow. Just incredible deals going on site-wide with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Of course, I dried off this morning with my MyPillow towels, which are just so incredible. The 6-piece MyPillow towel set, normally $69.98, just $39.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout. They have, let's see here, 4, 7, 10 colors. So they have some new colors in. Free shipping on all orders over $75. And you can use our promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones that I talk about. All the MyPillows, just great deals. The Giza Dream Sheets, $40 off, all sizes. And, you know, the thing about the Giza Dream Sheets, they're made of 100% Giza cotton. Giza cotton is the finest cotton in the world. It keeps you the perfect temperature all night long, all year long. I don't know how it works, but it works. And what blew me away when we first got our first set of the Giza Dream Sheets is that fitted sheet fits perfectly on all 4 corners of your mattress without any effort. You can get it on. And that fitted sheet at the bottom, on any other sheets I've ever had, you get 1 corner on okay. A second corner, you get on maybe 3/4. The third one, you know, not even quite half. And then that 4th corner, you get over just the lip of the mattress, just enough to make the bed. It's a mess. But with the MyPillow 100% Giza cotton dream sheets, all 4 corners, just 2 fingers and a thumb without any effort, boom, it fits perfectly. I've had these sheets since they first came out years ago, and like everything Mike Lindell makes, they are high quality, and I can't tell the first set from the most recent set I got, even though they've been washed hundreds of times by now, because everything Mike Lindell makes is a very high quality. Free shipping on all orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. And when we get back, there's more to share, and we will take your calls at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Orange County on 106.9.
Oh, okay, yeah, it caught me off guard there. Sorry about that. No, that's okay.
Your home for the Steve Kane Show. Now, here's the True Oldies weather forecast.
Your current weather is a mostly cloudy 67 degrees, and later on this afternoon we will see a high of 79 degrees, accompanied by some clouds, some breeze, and perhaps some afternoon showers. And Later on this evening, it will be partly cloudy with a few showers as well, accompanied by a low of 65 degrees. And tomorrow's going to be a high of 80 with a couple morning showers.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
There's an accident reported Boynton Beach Boulevard and Lawrence Road. Clint Moore Road east of Congress Avenue. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250 keyword West Palm traffic. Outliners.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is your best bet for Super OTB action this weekend. Check out Oaklawn's Apple Blossom Handicap, the Maker's Mark Mile Stakes, and more. The Paddock is the perfect place to catch all the OTB and sports action with over 140 HD TVs and delicious food. And make plans now for the Kentucky Derby Fest, May 3rd with barbecue, music, hat contests, mint juleps, and more. For more info, go to ppkennelclub.com.
For over 100 years, Sloman's Home Security has been your
I'm going to play that when we get back to Schumer.
safe and secure. Whether it's protecting your loved ones or safeguarding your belongings, our commitment to real security powered by real people makes all the difference.
That's right. Our dedicated team is right here in Florida, ready to serve you with expert care and support.
24/7 monitoring and personalized service. You're not just a number to us, you're part of our family. Join all the homeowners who trust Sloman's for peace of mind. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME today. Protecting what matters most. Because the difference is here. Hi, it's Brian Craig. Let me ask you this. Are you planning on retiring in the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years? At any point in your life, or are you already retired? Listen, economically, it's a mess with the stock market ups and downs and inflation out of control. In fact, it's the highest inflation rate in 40 years. You need a plan of action for your retirement plans.
It's called pre-planning.
Retirement expert who can help you protect
You
your
get a
money,
discount on funeral
income, and
planning if you pre-plan. At need is expensive.
Retirement Network Advisors, South Florida's premier retirement experts, and has been for over 20 years. He's seen it all and is a true professional that you can trust. They're family owned and operated. His daughter Jenny works with him. You know Joe and Jenny from right here on True Oldies. He's the host of the Jupiter Joe Money Show, and he's been doing it for over a decade. You need Jupiter Joe's book, The Retirement Know-It-All. Mention my name, Brian Craig, and receive a free copy of his ebook. Go to jupiterjoe.com or call 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. Take advantage of his free phone consultation too. Go to jupiterjoe.com or call 561-743-0999.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business for 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
On the air since 1977.
Alrighty, Carlos on hold standby. Hour number 2 has begun. Okay, got a couple things I want to talk about. One, this Routh guy, the golf course Trump assassin. Okay, now we knew pretty early on that he had Ukrainian connections, right? Remember, the Trump assassin, the golf course assassin, I'm not talking about Butler, he was a mercenary recruiter for Ukraine. He was actively working to recruit ex-U.S. military to go fight for Ukraine. Not only that, he'd been to Ukraine. We got pictures of him in Ukraine. So now it's come out, and I'm surprised there's a piece to this that I haven't heard anybody in the media pick up. Maybe I've just been covering it closer than a lot of people. I don't know. But he was reaching out to his contacts in Ukraine to help him assassinate Trump. He was trying to get an RPG. I know. It's crazy. It's, yeah. And Ukraine doesn't look like they turned him in. And he was telling him, I want an RPG because Trump can't win. So far as we know, they didn't give him an RPG, but they didn't turn him in. But here's the thing. about this guy. Remember what type of weapon he had? He had an AK-47. AK-47s are the weapon of choice, the rifle of choice for the Ukrainians. Remember, they were giving AK-47s out to high school kids in high school at the high schools in Ukraine when the war first started. So where did he get the AK-47? Was it a Ukrainian AK-47 that he had? And I'm surprised no one's mentioned that. Maybe they just don't know. It's true. So was Ukraine involved in this? Very fact that they didn't turn him in looks like some involvement to me. I bet you Trump went through the roof and got all the information on that. Now, the information on him is not going to be as readily available as the Butler guy because he's still alive and he's facing trial. But now, forgetting about the Democrats, they're not players anymore. I know about that new poll. But I know this is nuts. What if it comes out, well, it has come out, that there's multiple connections between the golf course assassination attempt of President Trump and Ukraine? Why were they doing that? Now that this is becoming more public, I hope people make it more public because it has to be discussed. These are not our partners. These are not our allies. If somebody contacts you for something like that, you turn them in. But they didn't. If they would have turned him in, Trump wouldn't have been at the golf course. And also on this Routh guy, we still, this just blows my mind. We know nothing. Remember, he was caught by accident. When he ran from those bushes, from those hedges, across the street, he was parked across the street at the post office. A woman driving by saw him. She really didn't know what was going on. She was suspicious and followed him and got his license plate number and gave it to the Palm Beach deputies. And that's how they got him on I-95. Okay? He wasn't even speeding on I-95. He thought he got away. They got him by accident. But we know nothing about this guy. Whose car was that he was in? How did he buy it? The AK-47, where did he get that? Who was he staying with here? Was he living in the car? Did he drive the car from somewhere and live in the car? Was he staying at someone's house or apartment here? We know nothing. We know nothing. And I'll tell you another thing. I was mentioning yesterday about my documentary on that because I looked at 6 months ago how much heavier I was 6 months ago from now as opposed to now with all the weight loss. But that area is filled with cameras. Okay, he was parked at the post office on a Sunday when it's closed, so there are really no cars there. Maybe some people come by and park to rubberneck the Trump golf course on the outside. There's cameras in the post office parking lot. Where's the footage from that? There's a gas station. There's an intersection right there, right? There's a gas station and there's a 7-Eleven filled with surveillance cameras. He had to go there to get a drink or a candy bar, bag of chips, or to go to the men's room. Where's the video? They've hid everything about this guy. And I may do another follow-up documentary at some point as we get more information. The one that I did it the first day that they reopened the crime scene. And I went and did it because I thought everybody would be doing it. No one's done it. But where's all the video footage? He's parked in a federal building's parking lot. The convenience stores and gas stations have nothing but surveillance because they're always getting robbed. And his getaway route, that area where Roth got away is a very confusing area. You know, a lot of people don't realize that Trump's golf course is there because the area, of course, the golf course is beautiful. It's like just a beautiful golf course because it's Trump. But that area that it's in is industrial and it's a maze. And I've lived here all my life and I even get confused over there. Okay? But he knew and he casually left. And I remember when I left, I was at the light. There's cameras at that intersection on the lights. Where's the footage from that? Nothing. We've gotten nothing. I don't know if the government has it and they're hiding it, or if the cameras were deactivated, or the footage was bulky. I don't know. But this new Ukrainian connection, it's a new aspect, but it's not the first Ukrainian connection. Now, they have the AK-47 in custody because when he ran from the scene, he left the rifle behind. So the Secret Service did immediately get the AK-47. They should be able to trace where it came from. Was he here long enough to buy it at a local gun shop? I don't know. Or was it a Ukrainian one? There has not been one reporting of this, really. And when I went and did, the reason I went and did, when Butler happened, a lot of people went to Butler and covered it. But when this one happened, no one did from the media. Well, they stood there and showed the crime, the police going in and out and the feds. But they didn't ask any of the questions or show any of the things that I'm talking about right now. And when I went and did that, I mean, what I have is, it's like walking the book depository in Dealey Plaza, 2 days after the event, when nobody else had done it. I can't believe no one else has done that, investigated, or asked any of the questions that I'm asking. And, these big media outlets, they have the contacts and they have the resources to get answers to some of the questions I'm asking that I don't have the connections or resources to get. But right now, my first question is, the AK-47, where did he get it? Who was the owner of it before him? There's no way they can't trace it. Is it a Ukrainian AK-47? I think there's probably a good chance it is. I don't know. Don't you think it's a legitimate question? And especially in light of this new thing that came out. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our first break of the second hour. My name is Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning on the True Oldies channel.
Yeah, guys, check out when you get a chance my documentary. It's right here on my channel.
Listen to Richie the Bus Driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Donna from Jupiter. I'm calling to share my great experience with Jupiter Joe. My husband and I started listening to you a few years ago, and that's when we learned.
No, it was reported it was an AK-47 by the police.
Social Security or
And the feds at the time.
Every phone call. He recommended an annuity that enabled us to get a safe monthly income for life. So I just want to tell everyone, if you're in need of additional income, especially with the high cost of everything these days, please call Joe Thomas. It's no cost to you. He is so professional, knowledgeable, trustworthy, and you can put total confidence in him. My husband and I can't say
You're welcome to
enough
call
good
in,
things about
trolls. I
you.
mean, you know, the number's toll free for you too.
Thank you for your
If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take some calls when we get back.
Thomas. If you want to call Joe Thomas, I'm going to give you his number. It's a no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online at JupiterJoe.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world that truly is FM.
Alrighty, we're back. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, conservative.
Oh, hey, Doug.
You know, this fellow here, the assassin, you know, something's not right. Normally, I mean, you figure that the government's holding things back because they want to go to trial, which is coming up pretty soon. But the media not saying anything, something's not right. I got a feeling, I suspect it was the Democrats saying, let this guy thing die down. You know, maybe he's just a crazy person. Let's forget it.
Well, with the media, with the Democrats and the left, they think the problem with the assassin is he didn't make, they got him.
I know. I saw that survey that they say the Democrats.
Yeah. Well, I don't say that on the air. I know other people are, but I'm not going to talk about that ridiculous survey.
Disgusting. Anyway, I think this is going to be a great trial, and this guy's we're going to find out. I think that you're right. I think Ukraine has to be behind this as well, because this guy probably went to Ukraine. They gave him a AK-47, brought it back. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have been.
Or who knows? I mean, they had to have a unit here. The reason I point out where the Trump golf course is it's a very complex road. And it's one of those roads that even when you live here your whole life, you still got to watch where you're going or you're in the wrong lane. And he had his getaway planned, and it was done with military-like precision. And I haven't heard any follow-up about where he was staying. Was he alone? Was he in the car? Was he staying somewhere? Was he in a hotel? Nothing. Nothing.
Weird. Why we're not hearing anything? I guess it has to be. I think the Democrats put pressure on the media to don't talk about it. That's what I'm thinking. But otherwise,
they don't have to put pressure on them because they don't want the media don't want this out. Make Zelensky look like what he is, a thug.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to find out really soon. It's going to be great to find out. The other thing I want to mention is, when we talk about that furniture, unfortunately, people can't seem to comprehend what $1 billion is. $1,000 million, and there's several billion being sold for furniture. I mean, something's really rotten there, boy. They're stealing the money. It's unbelievable how they're getting robbed. Right in pure daylight, and they're stealing the money right
by
pockets.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
All right, take care. Appreciate the call. Now, this is, this domestic terrorism that's been going on with the Tesla dealerships. There are some issues that are nonpartisan. Blowing up car dealerships in the United States, firebombing American car dealerships, and attacking people driving down the road because of the car they're driving. That is a nonpartisan issue. We should all be against that, right? Well, Schumer, it's different. Listen to this. This is Schumer yesterday. I mean, this is just bizarre. Yeah, I mean, should he not be censured for this? So he's walking through the Senate, and someone asks him to condemn the Tesla violence, and this is what happened.
Senator, what's your opinion of the violence against Tesla, their products? What are your thoughts on that? Do you denounce the violence against Tesla products and dealerships and cars in the streets?
Okay, now I just want to give you the image here of this video. His first choice is, he's saying nothing, right? And this is normal with these Democrats. They get asked questions that they don't like, so they just, are there with their staff and they ignore it. And that beep you heard is the elevator door open because Schumer was waiting to get into the elevator that you have to be a senator to get in. And that was going to be his escape. So, and this guy's asking him the questions. Schumer's not saying anything. He starts to step into the elevator, and then he has a reaction. So I'll rewind it a little bit.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you denounce the violence against Tesla products and dealerships and cars in the streets?
I can't talk about Tesla, but Elon Musk is a disaster for America, and America knows it. Look at Wisconsin.
What does that mean? Look at Wisconsin. What are we supposed to look at in Wisconsin? And he was smiling when he said it, Schumer. You can't talk about Tesla. You can't say firebombing car dealerships is a bad thing. Don't do it. He can't speak out against that. Right? A pregnant woman is driving a Tesla and some liberal drops a rock through her window. You can't say don't do that. There were shots fired at a Tesla dealership. You can't say don't shoot bullets into Tesla dealerships. There's people in there, customers and employees. He can't say don't do that. Why? And of course the question is why not? And the reason he can't is because it's his constituents that are doing it. And not only is it his constituents and the Democrats' constituents that are doing this, when he gives a response like that, he's giving legitimacy to their violence. That's why there's that poll out about Trump from the left, which I'm not going to go through. I know everybody else is, but Doug loves to talk about that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to do it. I mean, this guy, I've never seen a point, and I want you to think about it now. Rack your brains. There's been histories of domestic terrorism, and I'll give you an example, okay? There was a time, 20 years ago or more, when pro-life activists were attacking abortion clinics. Remember that? There were bombs going off outside abortion clinics. Conservatives came out and said, we are opposed to bombing abortion clinics, all right? They came out and condemned it. And they'd be asked about it all the time, and they'd come out and condemn it, because of course. But they can't condemn this. In fact, our constituents weren't doing such a thing. People that were doing something like that, it was just god-awful time. Those abortion clinic issues. I don't want to get into the details of all that, because there was a lot of things going on, but we condemned it. Our people condemned it, but they can't condemn this? Come on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Now, I want to tell you guys about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. He's rid me of pain 7 times, as you guys know. Arthritis, knee pain, 3 times shoulder pain, all from injuries. And, I retired my longboard skateboard, but the shoulder pains were so bad. The one shoulder pain that was the worst was, I was almost in tears when I went in there. And I described it at that time. I was on the air that day, and I went right after the show, because walk-ins are welcome, and appointments are not necessary, even on Saturdays, because Dr. Appleton knows when you're in pain, you need help, you need relief now. So you just go in. And that's typically what I do. But the pain in my shoulder that day, my shoulder felt like on the side of my arm, I'd been punched by Mike Tyson when he was the champ, okay? Not that it would feel any better now, but you know what I mean, when he was knocking people out in 30 seconds. And that I had a steak knife stuck into the muscle of the front of my shoulder, and someone was slowly cutting. It was that painful. It was one of the worst pains, maybe the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. I don't know what childbirth feels like. I'm a man, but it's got to be close to that. And I went to see Dr. Appleton, and I said, Doc, I'm going to need all your miracle work today, but I think I'm going to need surgery. I have damaged something beyond repair. And he examined me. He told me exactly what was wrong, and he treated me with the laser wave pain treatment, and boom, I'm pain-free today, right? And he's rid me of shoulder pain 3 times from different injuries. And, you know, what I learned, because when you go in and you're in that much pain, you really don't care. You just want the help. But what I learned is that he's able to find the area that is causing the pain. He targets the laser on that area, and the laser wave pain treatment actually repairs the damage that's causing the pain. That's why the pain's gone and it has not returned. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
All right.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon here on the Steve Kane Show with Amazing Brian. Just a reminder that at 10 this morning, we're back to the rock and roll music on the True Oldies channel.
Now, here's the True Oldies weather forecast.
The current weather is a mostly cloudy 67 degrees.
Where
And later
is
on
that
this
clip?
afternoon, we will see a high of 79 degrees, accompanied by some clouds, some breeze, and perhaps some afternoon showers. And later on this evening, it will be
Together we will take back the
showers as
Panama.
well, accompanied by a low of 65 degrees. And tomorrow's going to be a high of 80 with a couple morning showers.
On True Oldies traffic check, brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Watch for emergency crews restoring down power lines, Federal Highway and Northeast 10th Street. A crash, Orange Boulevard, Seminole Pratt Whitney Road, another, Boynton Beach Boulevard and Lawrence Road.
How you been, bro?
Good, how you been?
How was your,
Long time no see.
How was your cruise? You look good.
Good. Man, I've lost a shit ton of weight.
You look really
I-
good, bro. Wow.
I'm telling you.
That's awesome.
I mean, I put more holes in this belt. I'll buy a new belt.
That's what I
when I'm
did.
done.
I literally had to put holes, extra holes in my belt.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's
Amazing.
I know.
You look so much younger.
I
The only
know.
thing that sucks is you gotta go out and buy new clothes. It's horrible.
I'm waiting until I lose some more.
Yeah.
You know, but
What's your goal?
I don't know. I stopped weighing myself. I just like the way I look.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
You definitely look younger.
So,
So,
I mean, it's unbelievable.
yeah.
I I was so skeptical because there's not as much to it as I was expecting, but it works.
Yeah. That's great.
Anything else going on?
That's it. Just busy.
Well, that's good. Business is good.
Yeah, I mean the radio station is a good radio station. I just have an album coming out May 2nd. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I've been busy like doing all that stuff, all the publicity and promotion for it. So I have one of the songs off the album. It's #1 in Latin America right now.
Oh my gosh.
I've been
That's awesome.
so swamped. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's
Oh, that's the.
I get caught between a rock and a hard place. It's I gotta focus on radio stuff, but then I got
They gotta be talent.
producing
and all that.
career. It's yeah, it's just crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I have a song on, the Spanish singer Bad Bunny?
Uh-huh.
I have a song on his album.
Oh my God.
So,
That's
yeah, I've been
amazing.
busy. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, I don't have enough time in the day. It's I leave here at 4 o'clock. I go to Hollywood, and that's where my recording studio is. So I'm working down there till 3, 4 in the morning, and then I come back up here. I sleep for 3 hours. I take the kids to school, and then I come here. So it's
Why don't you have a studio up here?
just because all the artists are down there.
Oh, in Miami.
It's easier for me down there. I mean, if I had someone to help me run the radio station, my life would be so much easier. But it's
I wish you did too.
it's the one lady that I thought was gonna work, she ended up becoming, falling off the fucking wagon.
Oh, that happens.
So.
Oh, was it her? That was.
Jody, no Jody.
So, well, that's been a year.
Yeah, have you spoken? Have you heard from her?
Oh, she's She's in the witness protection program. I don't know anybody gets heard from her.
No, last I heard from her, she called me, begging me to take her out because her daughter and her sister put her in the
Oh my gosh.
Delray Medical Center, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
They bake her after. They
Well, that's not the kind of person you want to turn the radio station over to.
No, I had no idea that she was like, just went bad.
You know, every GM or station manager I've ever worked with always comes from the sales department.
Yeah,
Everyone.
Unfortunately, though, every radio station around here is dealing with the same issues.
Which is what? They can't find competent talent.
No one wants to do sales. It's not a glamorous position anymore.
No, but that's where the money is. It's where the money is.
Yeah. So, all right.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're back. Call us on hold, standby. All right, so this is amazing, okay? So they're trying to get this narrative going that Trump's unpopular, right? I mean, that the tariffs and all that's unpopular and everything else. They got these protests nationwide and everything. And CNN, this really blows my mind. You know, Rush Limbaugh, again, the great late Rush Limbaugh, he had all these great sayings, and he used to talk about accidental cases of journalism. Remember that, Rush? Accidental cases of journalism. But CNN, they're having this happen all the time. So they got a new poll out. This is really something. Now, they want to push another thing, too. I'll play you the CNN poll in a moment. They want to push this narrative that Trump's a lame duck. And they're under this, I don't know, they're under this impression that if they say it, it's kind of like manifesting, right? If they say it enough, they'll manifest it, it'll become true, and everybody will think he's a lame duck. And it's really amazing that he's not viewed as a lame duck, because this is his last term. But they know that he's going to be a force for the rest of his life, and that he'll pick his successor, and the things that he's doing are incredibly popular. So he's just not a lame duck. And, you know, he'll probably never be a lame duck, even on his last day. You know, and that was true for Ronald Reagan, too. People forget. But I remember Ronald Reagan, even after George Bush, the father, was president-elect, he was still vice president, they had a summit meeting in New York with Gorbachev. And Ronald Reagan was the president, Vice President Bush was the president-elect, but Ronald Reagan was still calling all the shots, even then. Do you guys remember that? I remember that. You know, it was pretty shocking at the time. And so it's happened before. But not only is he not a lame duck, he's stronger than ever. And that's why I say, you know, those of you out there that are impatient, that haven't been arrested and everything, you are never going to have a period of winning like this ever again. So CNN, I don't know why all this, accidental cases of journalism are happening so often. I don't know, but it's happening. Let me pull this up. This just blew me away. And it's always best when you can, okay? Just to give you guys a little tip. I mean, I could find this story in Breitbart or something. It's always best to share these stories from liberal sources when you can, because the liberals can't discount the news because of this. Oh, that's Breitbart. Oh, that's the Gateway Pundit. If you go to their trusted sources, MSNBC, CNN, it's different. So anyway, this is CNN, and they're talking about the lame duck status of President Trump.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here? Let's talk about Trump executive orders in 2025. He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April, since Harry S. Truman in the early 1950s. The bottom line is, whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's come in and not try to deliver on what he at least believes was his promises on the campaign trail, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
Okay, see, now this is something, okay? Because I've seen so many of these presidents come and go, and they got their second term, and this is what there's and I'll play the rest of this, okay? There's a cycle with every president other than Trump, okay, between their terms. First, they get elected to their first term. They got the first 100 days, which is some BS thing they made up because the New Deal got done in the first 100 days of FDR, okay? So then they immediately start worrying about the midterm elections. That's in their first term. That's all they worry about. And they usually lose those. And then in the second half of their first term, all they do is run for president again. Then they get reelected, and then all they're concerned about is their legacy. And they want to have an international, all of them do this. They start traveling around the world, and then all of a sudden you see the president's in Thailand meeting with some guy in silk pajamas and making an agreement that you don't understand. But they're trying to build their legacy in their second term. This is like the first day of the first term that's going on with Donald Trump. There's never been someone who's done this. Not like this. All right, back to CNN. And again, remember, this is CNN.
How are people reacting to and feel about Trump's approach?
Yeah, okay, so Trump's approach here, what are we talking about? Trump's approach to presidential power. I think the American people recognize what he's doing here is completely different. We're talking, get this, 86% of the American public believes that Trump's approach to presidential power is completely different from past presidents, compared to only 14% who believe it is in line with precedent. And we're talking about at least 79% of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So again, you can agree or you can disagree with Donald Trump, but what you can't disagree with is that he's doing things very differently. I have used the Frank Sinatra quote before. He is doing it, quote unquote, my way, and that is what Donald Trump has done throughout both of his presidential terms, and he's certainly doing that, Kate Baldwin, in term number 2.
Now, Kate Baldwin hates Trump like the plague, okay? And every time they do one of these reports, it seems to be on her show, and you could see it in her face. It's like they make her do it, right? She's like, can't you do this on Tapper's show? Why are you doing this on my program? She hates it.
Differently, clearly they agree, but is it taken a step further? Do the people think he has too much? He's taken too much power?
Yeah, this I think is the real question, right? You can believe that he's doing stuff completely differently, but do you think that he has a little too much power or not? And this is interesting. So Trump's presidential power is too much, the right amount, too little. Well, 47% say too much, but then you get 36% who say the right amount, then you get 17% who say too little, so you're essentially dealing with a majority of the American public, 53%, who do not say that Trump has too much power. They either says he has too little power or the right amount of power. So the idea, that argument that Donald Trump is quote-unquote a king, that I don't think holds with the American people. It does hold maybe with 47%, but with the majority of folks, they believe Donald Trump's doing something completely differently, and they don't believe he has too much power, and the executive orders he signed certainly suggest he's no lame duck. He is, as I said at the beginning, a soaring eagle.
Yeah. So, yeah, soaring eagle. So, I mean, so you're going to have a hard time getting your false narratives going when CNN is reporting that he's not a lame duck, he's a soaring eagle, and he's more popular than any president that's ever lived. You know, I know. It's really, you got to pinch yourself sometimes that this is actually happening after everything they did. And, you know, I wonder when you look back, at what point did he become so popular? Was he always this popular? A lot of this I keep going back to because it's so true. A lot of this has to do with USAID being gone. Because USAID is gone, they're not able to get the bots going online and to fund all the fake anti-Trump narrative against what he's doing. But the turning point were the 2 assassination attempts, right? Shooting him in Butler woke up a lot of people. But when they, a couple weeks later, did it again and failed here in Florida at the golf course, that just woke people up. And it really did. It woke people up to the idea that everything that Trump's been saying is true, that they are really out to get him. Because you got to remember, they spent a couple of years arresting him, getting mugshots, bringing him up in these trials, convicting him in courts by corrupt judges with corrupt charges, these lawsuits. I mean, that E. Jean Carroll thing as an example. She couldn't even say what year it happened. He couldn't mount a defense. People saw that. All that. You don't have to go through it all. You guys remember. And there were a lot more. The thing with the real estate on the value of Mar-a-Lago. And a lot of people tuned it out and thought, oh, well, he must be a bad guy. Then they shot him, started to wake people up, and then when they tried to do it again. And one thing that, they keep doing they do all these polls, but I haven't seen them do a poll asking people who they think was behind the assassination. The same people that killed Kennedy were behind the assassination attempts. And now we find out we've got a foreign influence with Ukraine involved in the golf course shooting. So, hey, things are looking up. I just want to say, before we get back to the politics, your calls, by the way, are welcome on all that I brought up today. We brought up quite a bit. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I've been talking a lot. I mean, this gets crazy. I know people. This is such a minor thing to a lot of people, but it's a big thing to me. My Starbucks addiction. Okay, you guys got to understand. I was drinking every day. By the time the show was over, 8 to 10 shots of espresso every day. I'd have 5 before the show, and 5 during the show. And, I've been told by my doctor and everybody, you got to stop doing that. You're going to have a heart attack. And yeah, you are. I mean, going to have a heart. I mean, it's too much to maintain. And I could feel that. Yesterday, I went to the doctor for the first time in a while, and they took my blood pressure. And usually when I go to the doctor, my blood pressure is through the roof. And I got to, and they know the story, okay? Because I tell them this every time. Well, I just got off the air. I've had 10 shots of espresso. It dries my blood pressure off, but later in the day, it drops. Yesterday, my blood pressure for the first time at a doctor's appointment was normal. Normal. They didn't even mention it. First time I've been to the doctor in years where my blood pressure was normal. I have cut back. I started doing this on the cruise last week. Wednesday or Thursday I cut out. I think it was Thursday last week on the cruise. They have a coffee bar, it's like a Starbucks. And last Thursday was the last day I had coffee. So, because I said I got to get off this because I'm going to have a heart attack. And because I know, because it puts a lot of tension on your vessels and everything. And I started drinking coffee again on Monday, and I don't have the 5 shots before the show. I've just been getting the 5 shots to drink during the show, and I've only had a few sips of that coffee today. The whole time I've been on the air, so I've detoxed, I think, off the coffee. In fact, I may even I'll start getting the smaller size tomorrow, and eventually I think I'm going to be weeded off of this completely. Because I'm not drinking it. The last couple days I've gotten it, and I've just thrown it away. And so today, and it's now why I was able to do that, I don't know. I did have the withdrawals, right? The brain fog and the migraine headaches last week for a couple days. Those are gone. And today was a weird thing because when I was about to leave the house, I had no coffee, and I was just drinking water and Gatorade, and my first thought was I feel kind of weird, and I realized I don't feel weird. I just feel normal because I'm not jazzed up on 5 shots of espresso when it's only 5 o'clock in the morning, right? I guess I was kind of like wired before, but I think one of the reasons I don't need all the caffeine anymore is because I've lost so much weight, and I got to tell you, with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, when I first met Dr. Zuckerman over there, it was on Inauguration Day because I went from there to our inauguration party at Wings Plus, and I'd never been on any kind of diet plan before at all, other than, I'm not going to eat chocolate this weekend or something, on my own. I've never been on anything. And so I wasn't sure I could do it because I've never done anything like that before. So I was actually on the system, on the program for 2 weeks before I told you guys about it. And because I didn't know I'd be able to do it. And it's kind of a risky thing for me to do because if I failed and couldn't do it, you guys would know. And it'd be like, because you guys see me because I'm live streaming on YouTube all the time. And I have stopped weighing myself. I haven't weighed myself in a few weeks. I have lost so much weight. And yesterday, it really hit home when I was looking at one of my YouTube videos from 6 months ago, how round my face was completely round. And and it's funny that I didn't even think I really needed to lose weight in my face. I wanted to lose it in my stomach. My face was huge. It was huge. I had no idea, because I guess these things happen gradually for yourself. Listen, Coastal Weight Loss Secret, it works. Give them a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. And those of you that saw me on the cruise, I was eating everything on the menu. I'm not eating special foods. I'm not exercising. No Ozempic. I'm tired of every day. Y'all know, no Ozempic, no drugs. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. Callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Men, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel old. At the Bio Station, West Del Rey, Dr. Mitch Matez, an expert in hormone replacement therapy, is here to help you reclaim your youth. Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today. 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching, have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642. This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you want it. Tender and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that would make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of St. Paul Road.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. On the air.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Dean from MAGA, Martin County.
Hey, what's up, D?
Hey, Brad. Hey, is it okay I talk about the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what you feel about, but it seems like this Amy Coney Barrett is such a... I mean, she's like anti-Trump, it seems like. I don't understand where she's coming up with her voting. Her record's terrible except for Roe v. Wade. That's the only thing that I think she's actually impressed anybody with.
Well, here's the thing. Remember, I always say this. She almost killed President Trump at the nomination ceremony in the first term. She gave Trump COVID, and he had it really bad, and he almost didn't make it. Okay? So, now I'm not saying that was an assassination attempt, but she gave him COVID. All right? So that's how she started.
Jesse Kelly, and I guess there's been several bomb threats, and between her and her sister, they've had quite a bit of threats, so maybe she's been threatened with her life. I don't know.
No. Listen. She is she's an establishment Republican, and that's just what you get. Well, the thing with the Supreme Court is this: they have that appointment for life. So to get those appointments, they kiss a lot of butt, and then they finally get it, and they find out who they truly are when they don't have to kiss any more butts, right? They don't have to suck up anymore. I don't know what Jesse Kelly says weird things all the time to get attention. What, well, I don't even know why he's talking about something like that. I mean, there's a lot of issues in the news. I don't know why he's reading pages out of Tom Clancy novels. No, listen, there was I can't remember what was the last ruling, not this recent one. There was a recent ruling where she sided with the Democrats. I forgot what it was. She went against the Trump administration.
They sent, I don't know, maybe, I can't remember.
I can't remember what it is, but I remember but listen. Well, it sucks, yeah. But here's the thing, okay? And that last time she ruled with the Democrats, the right went after her like no one's business. And I said this. I said, you're going to drive her into the Democrats. You know, when all the conservatives start attacking her like they were, she's going to gravitate towards those Democrats on the court, and boom, here we are. And a lot of times, what happens? Okay, I'm not defending her. Excuse me, guys. I'm not defending her or saying that this is what happened this time, but. There's sometimes what they do is a conservative will side with the liberals, even for some stupid reason that we may never know, but knowing that the case is still going to go the right way. So I wouldn't judge her totally on this.
That does make sense. So it looks like, our country isn't super lopsided.
Yes.
Give them one. But, in reality, we're going to get this through anyway, so look good then.
They do this in Congress all the time. In Congress, a lot of times, there'll be a bill up, and it's a liberal bill, but some Democrats, their district's a little more conservative, so they'll do the counting and say, okay, you 5 Democrats don't have to vote this way. You can vote with the Republican. It's one of those kind of things happen. I'm not saying that's true with her this time, but it's possible. I wouldn't read too much into it. I wouldn't read too much into it because it was such an important decision and we won. And, if you go back to Brown versus Board of Education, which ended desegregation in the public schools, what's your comment on the breakdown between the Republican and Democrat justices on that decision?
That'd be ignorant.
No, I don't either, okay? I don't either. Nobody does. So in the long scheme of things, you look about how the rulings are, not how the individual justices voted, right? So I wouldn't, I'm not saying that she's good, but it's just, I think there's too much, I think there's people that, like Jesse Kelly and everything, who think that they're shaping the world and influencing these people. They don't care what any of us think, okay? And there's a lot of self-important people that are, people are making too much out of it. We got the right decision, enjoy it.
True. You think we're going to get any of these district judges impeached, or is that just all hot air?
No, this took care of the judge. No, probably not.
God, he's as blatant anti-American as you can get.
Yeah, but he was totally neutered. The Supreme Court, All right, take care. Appreciate the call. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, there we go. People get involved in these things sometimes, like it's commentary at halftime, and you can't get. In my opinion, you can get a little too inside baseball. Now we got to see how she does. Now, if this decision went the other way because of her, I'd have a different opinion. But it went the right way. And I told you guys yesterday, or was it I guess it was yesterday we talked about this. The Supreme Court made this ruling not because it was the right thing to do. They were trying to save the credibility of the courts. Because Congress was about to make a move on Judge Boasberg. They were going to do something. It was not going to be an impeachment. That's too long of a process. But they were talking about taking his district away. There were all kinds of things that were being discussed. Okay? And Trump was doing what he was doing. He was ignoring these judges. So remember, Justice Roberts vacations with Boasberg. They're like best buds. It's like Trump and Elon, Boasberg and the Chief Justice. So he saved Boasberg. He was trying to save the illusion that the courts have power and influence and matter and all of these things. So the ruling had nothing to do with constitutionality of it. They just knew that this lawfare insurrection that's been going on through the federal courts wasn't going to fly. Now, there's another ruling that's in the news today. A federal judge ruled that Trump has to let the Associated Press back in the East Room. And that was a Trump-appointed judge. I don't understand how that's possible. Why does someone have a First Amendment right to be in the East Room? Because they're a journalist? I'm a journalist. Anybody with a blog is a journalist, right, these days. Anyone with a Twitter, with an X account, is a journalist. Why are they entitled to be in any room in the president's house? But a federal judge that he appointed ruled against him on that. And I hope they don't let the guy in there. I just wouldn't do things in the East Room then. You know, I mean, the Associated Press have been out of, they've been out of control and they're very arrogant. And the media have too much control over the scene in the White House. You know, yesterday, there was a very good question asked by a reporter from Lindell TV, Mike Lindell's thing, with Carolyn Levitt. And anytime they bring in these new media people, they're always like in the dunce chair over along the wall. And the press corps still decide who sits where. And they have all of the usual suspects that no one pays attention to anymore, sitting in the front row, and then they decide who gets all the seats behind them. You know, I don't know why the media have so much control over who sits where in that room, and and who has access and who doesn't have access. It's wrong, but that's the way it is. Now, one thing I do want to mention before we take the top of the hour break, I'm not going to play the audio because I don't want to listen to his voice. But James Carville, he did an interview yesterday. Now, you guys got to remember, James Carville's a senior DNC guy. He's still in the meetings with the big players, and he sees access to the internal polls that we don't see. He gave an interview yesterday, and listen to this. This is in Mediaite. James Carville warns Americans should be on high alert, suggesting Trump will rig the midterms and declare martial law. So what that tells me is that the Democrat parties, the DNC's internal polls tell them they're in trouble in the midterms, which is also historic because the party in power, which is us right now, typically is going to lose in the midterms. For James Carville to talk about this, he's already foreshadowing a defeat by the Democrats. So things are, see, I told you, we are in a whole new world. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. Steve Kane will be joining us after the top of the hour. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. Now, don't forget, go to mypillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Huge savings. And free shipping on all orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And you can use our promo code on all the specials at mypillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right, it's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We'll take our top of the hour break and be right back.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Hurry 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canal's
hot weather is a mostly cloudy 67 degrees, and later on this afternoon, we will see a high of 79 degrees, accompanied by some clouds, some breeze, and perhaps some afternoon showers. And later on this evening, it will be partly cloudy with a few showers as well, accompanied by a low of 65 degrees. And tomorrow's going to be a high of 80 with a couple morning showers.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check.
Hello?
Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Hello?
On I-95 southbound, there's a backup
All right.
at 610.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I was trying to call you.
Another backup on southbound I-95 at Hypoluxo Road.
Yeah.
Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. Pound 250, keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Ron Hersey.
Hey there. Hey, okay, hold on.
Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Steve Kane Show, hold on. Okay, you there?
This weekend, check out Oaklawn's Apple Blossom Handicap.
Are you there?
Maker's Mark Milestakes and more.
Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to go towards, or?
140 HD TVs and delicious food. And make plans now to be here for the Kentucky Derby Fest, May 3rd, with barbecue, music, hat
What
contests,
happened?
mint juleps, and more. For more info, go
Well, I don't know what happened. I didn't see it. You have to tell me about it.
Tires because you thought they were too
I
expensive.
saw a clip, but I don't know what happened.
Prices at Friendly
What are you
Tire
talking about?
in Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock
Okay.
too. Starting at
Okay.
just
All right.
$30.
I'll put you on hold.
Quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Hi, it's Brian Craig. Let me ask you this. Are you planning on retiring in the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, at any point in your life? Or are you already retired? Listen, economically, it's a mess. And inflation out of control. It's the highest inflation rate in 40 years. You need a plan of action for retirement plans. You need the advice of a retirement expert who can help you protect your money, guarantee your income, and stop losing money. Joe Thomas is president of Retirement Network Advisors, South Florida's premier retirement experts, and has been for over 20 years. He's seen it all and is a true professional. Their family owned and operated. His daughter Jenny works with him. You know Joe and Jenny from right here on True Oldies. He's the host of the Jupiter Joe Show. He's been doing it for over a decade. You need Jupiter Joe's book, The Retirement Know-It-All. Mention my name, Brian Craig, and receive a free copy of his ebook. JupiterJoe.com or call 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. Take advantage of his free phone consultation too. Go to JupiterJoe.com or call 561-743-0999.
Unbelievable. That's awesome. Right, and amid a trade war with the U.S. new tariff.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right. The third hour has begun. I'm Brian and Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve. Oh my gosh, is it ever? I mean, it's but things are going well. I mean, things could not be going better than they're going. You know, the only thing that's going to get heated, and the media, you know, and maybe this, I don't know if this is your experience, but the Chinese, I've known a lot of Chinese in my life. They're some of the smartest people I've ever known. Okay? They're very, very smart people. And this trade war with China, you know, what China is smart enough to know is that the American media are going to back their play no matter what it is. And the Democrats are going to back their play no matter what it is against Trump. And China just announced, because President Trump raised the tariffs on China at midnight last night, or 8 hours ago, 8 hours and 5 minutes ago, to 104%. So China's raising their tariffs on us to 84%. So the trade war between the United States and China is going to get heated, and we're going to see so much pressure in the American media for Trump to cave. I could just see it now. I mean, I'm looking at the futures. I don't follow the stock market. Okay, I mean we got annuities, we got gold, we got silver. That's all you need, right? That's what we talk about here. But everything is the Dow's way in the red, the Nasdaq way in the red, S&P way in the red. So it's gonna be some. We're going to have to circle the wagons around Trump on this one, because they're going to be working hard. They're going to be working hard. Oh, boy.
A little bit different perspective, but the question is, I have great faith in Trump. I think Trump can do anything that is humanly possible that you can do, but the question, I think, is whether Trump has the power to totally control the situation.
Of course he does.
Well, I don't get a sense from what I've seen so far that he has the power to control the Dow, and I think right now that's where we're.
Well, who has that power? That Mark manipulate.
That's my point. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I mean, I don't think anybody has the point.
I mean, he can't make it rain either, but
Right. We know that he can do better than anybody else. We know that. But is that enough to make it happen? That's my question.
He's not going to cave with China. He's not going to cave with China. And China is going to escalate and escalate and escalate. It's going to get nasty. It's going to get nasty.
So in your scenario that you just described, what is the end game?
Trump wins, of course.
And what does that look like?
Getting whatever he wants from China, pretty much. These people, have any of them read The Art of the Deal? These people, what Trump does, if you read The Art of the Deal, which he wrote like decades ago, and you see everything he does, he always asks for at least 3 times what he wants, right? So if he wants $10, he asks for 30. So you give a negotiation, and he gives you back what you think is a lot, but he still gets more than he wanted. He'll get what he wants. It's just going to take a while. That's all. You want to take some calls? All right, let's go. And I think the callers will agree with me. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hey, Richie.
Tell everyone out there that hi, Steve. Brian will tell everyone that I'm a gambler, because I am a gambler. The stock market out there is not a thing. It's not like a casino, what they tell you. If you're invested in the stock market for retirement, you're long term. If you look every day, you're going to go cuckoo. It doesn't matter. You got to look at 10-year spurts, and that's the bottom line. So anybody in the market that's worth
today, if you don't lose if you don't sell.
Yeah, you don't look at it every day either, because one day you might be a billionaire, the next day you're a pauper. And then if you do that, you go crazy. The other thing I want to say is you got to watch out for this decision that Judge Roberts went along with it, and Brian said he's happy with the 5-4 decision on the deportation of these gangs to South America. Well, let me tell you, Brian, there's a thing the word was for now at the end. It was not, in other words, I think that they're going to block him from deporting the rest of them once he gets all these gangs out of here. They don't want these people deported, and I don't understand it.
Mm.
Sure, they're going to fight it, and the Supreme Court's not going to let them do it.
Why? I don't know why you say that. They're letting him do it now. And by the way, who are they to? First of all, who are they to let him do it, or not? What do you mean? What do you mean they're going to let him do it? The country has been invaded by rapist and murderous barbarians, okay? These gang members, and the Supreme Court's going to let the Commander-in-Chief of the United States protect the United States from enemies, foreign and domestic? Since when do they let him?
You heard what I said. See, you were all for with the abortion deal, and everyone's, that's the law of the land. And you go. So the bottom line is this: they do have the last say. The Supreme Court. I mean.
Oh, they have the last say, and then when they say something, if they tell President Trump these rapists and no, if they were to tell President Trump, the Supreme Court, you cannot deport these rapists and murderers, what do you think Trump's going to do?
Deport them.
Exactly.
You're mixing up. You're mixing a lot up here. There's a difference between rapists and murderers and gangs, and the ones that came in here just to eat off of our land, that haven't committed crimes except for breaking into the United States. And I think breaking into the United States is enough to send them back. But I guarantee you, the Supreme Court's going to stop them from.
How are they going to stop him? Oh, that's interesting. How will these weirdos who wear robes? No, hold on. How would they stop him?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how they're going to stop them. They're going to rule it unconstitutional to send these people back. And then he's going to have a big.
Oh, okay. So they're going to see. This is something. This is an amazing thing that happened. Okay, and this is what happened with the Supreme Court. About a week ago, some conservatives started quoting the liberals' only founding father they like, Alexander Hamilton, who they just remember, because they had that Hamilton thing going on for years. And Alexander Hamilton wrote that the federal courts have no authority. They just give opinions. And that's true. They have no enforcement mechanism. They just give opinions. They're like...
It's not an opinion.
Yeah, sure. It's their opinion. It's their opinion.
If they rule that it's unconstitutional to deport people, it's going.
They have it. Does no. All they're doing is giving their opinion. They have no enforcement power. They can't stop them, and they know that they're not going to stop them. So what I was talking about yesterday with this, the Supreme Court came in with this ruling because they want to keep the illusion that the courts have power, that they're relevant.
If they didn't, that's a ruling. That was not. That was not. They didn't pass a law yesterday. They passed basically an opinion.
That's right.
That was an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
For now.
Yeah.
You say for now.
Yeah.
It's for now, because as soon as he starts deporting the rest of these people, they're going to stop it.
They're not going to stop it. How do they stop it? They come out with.
I can tell you in theory how they can stop it. What they're going to do is the enemy who is in Congress, the Democratic Party, if they do something that he perceives as going against the Constitution and going against the court, they'll impeach him.
Exactly right. Brian thinks everything is going to be rosy.
Who's going to impeach him? The Republicans? The Republicans are going to... But they're not in power. They're not in power.
Well, you got a point there.
They will stop his agenda in the middle. There'll be a constitutional crisis in this country.
Oh, please.
Remember, not all of us are MAGA, my friend. You think everyone is MAGA?
No. No.
There are crazy people out there that are not.
Yeah, and Trump doesn't care what they think. Yeah, and they're the losers, the ones that lost the election.
But Trump listen to me, Trump is going to be on his last 2 or 3 years in office. The rest of them want careers. And they're not going to...
See, the career... Oh, they're not going to go down. They're going to move up with Trump. Yeah.
He's going to be gone in 3 years. Then they got to...
You don't understand. You're thinking, no, you don't understand. So the Supreme Court is not going to stop Trump from deporting people. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Even if they rule They have no way to stop him.
I mean, that's an interesting question, bro. Let's see what the other...
Yeah. All right. No. That's that. What Richie just did is the textbook example of a chronic caller. The call is ending, and they got one. Remember that one last thing. Oh, one more thing. No, that's the sign to hang up. Oh. Well, he's more interesting now. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. The rest of you on hold. Stand by. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon, one of the DJs here at the True Oldies channel. Hope you're enjoying the Kane Show with Brian. And we want to remind you that at 10 this morning, the Oldies are back. The greatest hits of the 60s and 70s right here on the True Oldies channel.
Hi, this is Maureen Cohen from Nutrition World Palm Beach Gardens, your locally owned, family-run health food store, featuring one of the largest selections of natural products in the area. From supplements to organic foods, body care to natural pet foods, we stock thousands of only the top quality brands that you've come to trust. One of those brands is Terry Naturally. Our friend Terry is hosting a radio show called Terry Talks Nutrition, Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. right here on the True Oldies channel. Terry will share the latest on health and nutrition as he helps us learn how to achieve good health with natural ingredients, and covers important topics like heart health, weight loss, balancing hormones, pain relief, inflammation, and so many others. So listen here to the True Oldies channel every Saturday at 6 a.m. for Terry Talks Nutrition, and stop by Nutrition World, open 7 days a week. We're at the northeast corner of PGA Boulevard and Prosperity Farms Road in the Carmines Market Plaza. You can visit nutritionworld.com or call or text us at 561-626-4377. That's 626-4377.
This is John from Lighthouse Medical Center. We've been able to help a lot of patients. We want to be able to help you with your neuropathy issues as well. You have numbness, burning, pain, tingling, lack of sleep.
Oh, I've got this new medication I got to take. My doctor gave me.
We've had thousands of patients come through Lighthouse Medical Center. Being able to see the quality improved in their life and being able to help them and their family has been a blessing to us and a blessing to them. Call for a free consultation with us today. 754.
Not quite time yet.
6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642.
If you're a homeowner with a homeowners association and your roof is already compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Laporta Roofing has been in the roofing and construction business since 1984, with thousands of roof installations and thousands of satisfied customers. Did you know that in the state of Florida, you can open a roofing company and borrow someone else's license? Tom Laporta is the holder of his roofing and contractor's licenses, not like the other companies that borrow other people's licenses. So be sure who you're dealing with. Tom Laporta and his team are honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and will never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Roofing carries all insurance, including workers' compensation on all of its employees, not just a waiver like other contractors. Laporta Roofing can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing, HOAs, condominiums, and churches. If it's roofing, Laporta Roofing can do it. So call Tom Laporta on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, or connect online.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, on 95.3 FM, Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
Alrighty, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. Steve back here with us. You want to take some more calls, Steve? A couple people want to talk. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes. I've got headphones on.
Are you saying we don't have, listen, Steve, I hope you're there still. Are you saying we don't have 3 branches of government only? We're like a tyranny now? We have one person that rules whatever we do?
No, I didn't say that.
But you're saying President Trump can ignore anything that the courts say to do?
No, what I'm saying is that we have been brainwashed into thinking some things are true that are not true. No, I didn't say that. I mean, you could keep repeating that. I mean, you know, but no, I didn't say that.
Should Trump adhere to the Supreme Court?
It depends.
Oh, it depends now.
The Supreme Court is not the president of the United States, and federal judges who walk around in robes don't boss the president around.
Talking about the Supreme Court. Forget about these federal court judges. The Supreme Court, you're telling Trump doesn't have to adhere to their rulings.
On these deportations, no. Unless...
On anything.
I'm not going to say on anything. That's too vague.
But just to deportation?
Well, I think we should talk about specifics. So far as deporting an enemy invading horde in our country, it is under the authority of the commander-in-chief to deport them. It's not... Oh, here we go. Yeah. Yes.
Telling me, do you remember why we fought Britain?
Oh, I didn't know you were that old. You were actually in the Revolutionary Army?
Of course I was.
Okay. No, why? Tell me why we had the American Revolution.
I'm asking you. You're the historian.
There were a lot of reasons, okay? No representation, there wasn't one main reason. There were several reasons. No taxation without representation. No, okay.
Also, to not allow a king to rule us.
Correct. We don't have a king.
Like, you know what? Trump, you're advocating that Trump is a king. And Steve, please chime in, Steve. I hope you can still talk. Steve, be able to do whatever he wants and overrule the Supreme Court of the United States in any matter.
I didn't say that. Why do you keep putting words in people's mouth?
No, but what's your opinion? Let's hear
He likes putting, Steve, he likes putting things in people's mouth.
speak. This is what you do. You don't let Steve speak.
You're not letting him speak. You're not letting him speak.
Steve, do you think if they, for example, go on deportation, the Supreme Court of the United States, who upholds the Constitution, has a ruling on deportation, that Trump should supersede that based upon
Correct.
things suspended?
Yes.
Let Steve speak.
I think that they've made it perfectly clear that the commander-in-chief in this situation has the final word on it. I think that's what that enemies act court, I think, is all about.
Over the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yes, on these matters. It's just like no. Hold on a second, Greg. Just calm down. As an example, okay, this Houthi and the Blowfish that the Iranians have over there that we're fighting with, the Houthi, right? If the president orders an aircraft carrier strike force to take out the Houthi rebels, and the Supreme Court come in and say, oh, you can't take out the Houthi rebels with that carrier group, should he listen to the Supreme Court or should he take out the Houthis?
Well, first of all, that's a retarded example.
Retarded example? Did you learn that one in law school? Is that what a retort?
Talk radio. You're asking, okay.
It's the same thing. It's the same concept.
How about, all right, let's bring it to a different level. How about abortion? If Biden wanted to not allow, you are all in favor of the Supreme Court overturning Roe.
No, you're not going to come up with some other analogy. I gave you one, and there. Listen, the president of the United States is more than just the chief executive of the executive branch of government. He's also the commander-in-chief of our military forces. And as commander-in-chief of the military force of our military, he is charged with not just defending our interests worldwide, but also defending us from enemies, foreign and domestic. We have tens of millions of illegals, foreign nationals that have invaded this country, and he's repelling the invaders. He's just like the carrier group with the Houthis. So that's what he's doing. It's not the federal court's business to get involved.
Let's have an intelligent conversation. By the way, that Jeff.
Well, for that, I'd have to get Richie back because this is not a very intelligent caller.
that courts don't have any power. It's just like they just rule, and we don't really.
That's not what he said.
Oh, he said it all week long, Steve. You don't listen to the show.
No. There are everything I say is into a microphone. It's broadcast all over the place. I'm not talking in secret, Greg. Okay, but there are certain things that the federal courts should not be involved in.
Brian?
President Trump. When the judge said turn the plane around, he continued to send it.
President Trump didn't go to law school, by the way. Right?
Who cares? So what? You know what? Abraham Lincoln didn't go to law school either.
Why did you bring up Abraham Lincoln?
Well, you said he didn't go to law school, like that was demeaning. So, you know.
Abraham Lincoln has to be any relevance.
Well, he's a great American, and he didn't go to law school.
So many great Americans that don't go to law school. But
Yeah, and there's a lot of scumbuckets that are lawyers too, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, guess what? You know.
Yeah, guess what? I'm talking to one. Yes, I know. Yes.
You know, there's a lot of scumbuckets on the air too, correct?
Mark Scheinbaum's still on the. I don't know.
Well, guess what? There's no perfection in this world. But as far as, let me ask you a question, Steve, and see if you can answer this quickly too. Let's go to the tariffs and let's go to the market. Steve, do you own stock?
I guess he's given up on the other one, Steve. We're right. We beat him.
Because you know what? Because you will never concede. But the bottom line is there is a Supreme Court. They interpret the Constitution, uphold the Constitution. There are three branches of government, and you will never concede to them.
Yeah. So wait a minute. There's three branches of government. What does that mean?
What does that mean? They each have their roles.
No. There's three branches. Hold on. Slow down. The three branches of government. The rest of that sentence is they have separate powers, right?
Right. So let me ask you a question.
And yeah.
Whatever happened to passing laws? How did executive orders become the land of the law?
This Enemies Act has been on the books since what, 1798?
All these executive orders. I'm not an advocate for executive orders, giving one person a king to rule a country.
Listen, President Trump was not, President Trump was given a 4-year term by the American people, okay? He wasn't anointed a king, and he only has this one term left. A king was for life.
You know what? When Obama issued and Biden issued executive orders, you weren't in favor of them.
I don't remember talking about Biden. Who cares? They're not there now.
Listen, be honest. Be honest to your...
I have no recollection of really talking about any of their executive orders. I don't know.
You were in favor of Biden's...
No.
You're going around in circles.
You're hysterical. Hysterical. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, I'll tell you this. All this panic over the stock market. They're like him. They're like Greg. Everyone's panicked over the stock market. Call Jupiter Joe Thomas and never worry again. With annuities, no matter what happens at the stock market, if it drops 2,000 points or goes up 2,000 points, it's like no sweat. Your money is always safe in an annuity. Your money does not fluctuate. It doesn't go up and down on the whims of the stock market. I mean, why live such a stressful life, right? Get involved in annuities. Give Joe Thomas a call. Joe Thomas, not only is your nest egg, is your savings, is your money always safe, no matter what happens in the stock market, you're guaranteed income in your retirement for the rest of your life. Guaranteed income for the rest of your life. That's absolutely amazing. No other big investment out there does that. 401ks, all these things, they don't guarantee you income for life. Annuities do. Give him a call. Now, Joe Thomas is offering free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located. He'll have a conversation with you, and he'll put together a custom proposal based on your situation, your goals, and everything else. Okay? His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. In fact, one of our callers the other day, they say, oh, Your pensions are in the tank now because of the market, because of the tariffs. And I learned from Joe Thomas, most pension plans are in annuities, so they're perfectly safe. Isn't that something? It's amazing. 561-743-0999. If you missed the number, you can get it on his website, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Weather is a mostly cloudy 67 degrees, and later on this afternoon we will see a high of 79 degrees, accompanied by some
Oh my
clouds,
goodness.
some breeze, and perhaps some afternoon showers. And later on this evening it will be partly cloudy with a few showers as well, accompanied by a low of 65 degrees. And tomorrow's going to be a high of 80 with a couple morning showers.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
The turnpike is stop and go northbound between Lakewood Road and Okeechobee Boulevard. There are delays on southbound I-95 Gateway Boulevard to Congress Avenue. An accident, Congress Avenue at Forest Hill Boulevard. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250, keyword westbound traffic. I'm Ron Herson.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. This April, it's raining money in the poker room with new high hands every 15 minutes, every day from 9 a.m. to midnight. And a chance to win $15,000 in cash giveaways. Plus, mega bad beat jackpots and table games featuring Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker for just a $5 minimum bet. The Moneymaker Tour returns April 30th through May 13th with over $500,000 in guarantees, 27 trophy events, live streaming, and more. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
My name is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. Over the years, I've treated thousands and thousands of patients from bursitis, tendonitis, sciatica, stenosis, neuropathy, tears, post-surgery, pre-surgery, herniated disc, gout, bone on bone. You can name the pain, most likely I've treated over the years. Most of my practice is laser with robotic lasers. They're robots which rotates constantly around the area.
So I'll try younger
Yeah, he should be there today, but it's iffy because he's traveling. So if he's not, just play the thing.
Okay, and then at the end is the Jupiter Joe. It's a minute 7.
Okay, so it even ended 59-ish, 50, okay.
I would do that free of charge.
Call Dr. Appleton right now for that free consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Linda Boyne, I just received my 7th and 8th set of Michael Lindell sheets. This time we got flannel ones, which we had never had. I got one for my husband for Christmas. He loves it. Oh my God. And especially with the cold days and nights you've been having the last few months in Florida. I got 2 more. I send them to my friends for Christmas now, and they just love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I have the flannels too. You're like Goldilocks. They keep you the same temperature all night long.
Yes. So, perfect. But the guy just has a great product.
The thing with Mike Lindell sheets, all of them, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly on the mattress. Every other sheet, you can't get the 4 corners on. And it's almost impossible. Even after having them for years and washing them, I don't know how many times, they still fit perfectly.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You're probably going to be on the next one. Look, just so you know, okay? Okay, just to let you know. You heard Lynn from Boynton. She loves her MyPillow sheets. Order yours right now at a huge discount. Use our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com.
Hello, this is Wilkerson Tire. I've been in business for 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
Alrighty, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. All right, I'm going to take some more calls, Steve. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Jay.
Well, you said earlier, y'all love all the winning.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure how you're so nonchalant of $7 trillion being lost in the stocks. And you say, oh, it's just fine. Just sit back. All those billionaires aren't feeling this so happy and great about the $7 trillion, $6 trillion being lost.
And over and put them on hold if you just want to be polite. It's the same thing over and over and over. You don't lose thousands of dollars or millions of dollars or anything if you don't settle. If you just sit there and wait for it to run its course, it'll do what it always does, come back. So why can't you comprehend that simple truth?
So, let me ask you a question. Why does it go up and down if it doesn't matter? If it doesn't matter, why do we even do it?
Why is it you can't understand that simple truth?
So why, if it doesn't matter, why do we even do it?
Because it's a habit. Because people like
a habit.
Yeah.
A drug. It's not a habit. It's not drugs. You're saying we run the Dow Jones Industrial and do all this trading for a habit?
How much money have you lost, Jay, on the market this week?
Oh, my 401k has taken a big shot. I'm pretty sure yours has too.
Really? No. Okay, so what kind of shot? What was your 401k? What was it and what is it?
Well, how much do you make it to that?
I didn't ask it. I didn't ask how much you made. I say you said no. No. See, you said your 401k took a hit. I think that's just some talking point. What was mine's? Oh my goodness. How many points did it lose?
Why do you have to go into stuff that I don't ask?
Because I don't think you have a 401k. I don't think you have a 401k.
Answer a question. You ignore.
It is. I don't think you have a 401k.
You can never answer a question when you know you.
What do you think, Steve? Do you think that Jay does not have a 401k?
I know he
Who cares what Steve thinks? So he needs to.
Oh, you said.
Why don't I look scared?
I know he's trying to change the subject off of that he lied that he has a 401k.
Y'all won't ever answer a question.
Wait, don't you understand? We are. All right, appreciate. Well, he's talking about himself in the third person now, Steve. Whatever, Jay. Oh my goodness, that's a caller that's getting an ego. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes.
Good morning, Irene. Hey, Uncle Steve. Morning. Boy,
How you doing?
that Jay. Don't Steve tell you enough times you shouldn't talk to somebody just because you can? Like, I can't believe you let Greg 2 back on.
The call, IB, we take all the calls screenless. I don't know who's on hold, so things happen. You know that.
Greg 2 to me is like Superman and Bizarro, or you and your favorite guy, the Jewish guy.
The Jewish guy?
To tick you off. You know, Shapiro.
Oh, Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro?
Ben Shapiro is to you like what Greg 2 is to me. I can't stand that guy. Moving right along. You see, he likes to play lawyer. Let's go back to the beginning. And Richie, pay attention. Stop getting caught up and getting your feelings caught up to what they're telling you all day long. When you leave your country, you have to go to the very next country borderline and then give them the information for asylum if you're really threatened under whatever kind of structure you're under. You don't go up all the way through the country to an American border. So if they want to talk about Constitution, who told Joe Biden it was okay not to allow those people to get the process due to the adjacent country that they had to come up?
All right, IB, you're getting too complex and cerebral. I call it too cerebral. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mr. Lakeworth.
Hey, Lakeworth.
Hey, so here's my take on why Trump is going to win this so-called trade war with China. The biggest market in the world for China is the United States. Now, the reason why they sell so much stuff is because they sell it as cheap. It's not good quality, but it's cheap. So once Trump puts these tariffs on all their junk, Americans are going to stop buying it and look for alternatives, and the Chinese economy will collapse. And I think Trump realizes this because he's a businessman.
Yeah.
Probably realizes it too.
Mm-hmm.
So China's going to have to give in because otherwise, their economy already.
Well, and I'll tell you what's going to happen, and it may have already started. There's going to be cargo ships, super cargo ships, that are too big to go through the Panama Canal that are going to be parked from the California coast all the way to China that don't want to dock, that are going to wait until this trade war is settled. Because once they dock, the tariffs come in, and it costs a lot of money. So China is going to be actually under a lot of pressure from international companies and shippers and all kinds of people. You know, a lot of this has to do as well with this Temu. Temu is the Chinese equivalent of Amazon, you know, and Temu's been challenging Amazon. You know, I'm not worried about it. Trump's got everything settled. What are your thoughts on the Supreme Court thinking they're the commander in chief?
And these small-time local judges that think they can tell the president what he can do or what he can't do. The Supreme Court, you know, Amy Coney Barrett has become a disaster, and it's a shame. But, you know, Trump's going to win on all this stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. See, they know Trump's going to ignore them if they tell him he can't deport. So they're going to rule in favor of him so that they maintain some sense of credibility. That's what I think.
It's in the Constitution that he has to defend the borders, you know, and he has to defend the American people from foreign and domestic threats. And these are foreign and domestic threats.
Yeah, and what I was taught, you know, Greg, who says he's a lawyer, the three branches of government have separate powers. Trump's doing what's in his lane of powers. And the Supreme Court, you know, I'm not talking about criminal courts in criminal rulings. I'm talking about like legislative. What the Supreme Court does is they say that a certain action may not be constitutional. Then Congress can go and pass a law and it's constitutional, right? That's how it works. So, you know, so much is being made about this. They're just, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious on what you think is going to happen on D-Day. D-Day being Saturday.
What's Saturday?
And what's Saturday? That's when our esteemed president meets with the enemy forces in Iran.
Well, he's not meeting with them. They have a representatives meeting with them, right?
Well, no, I think Trump's meeting.
I don't think so. No. Oh, we'll win that. Trump will win that one too. He's going to bankrupt Iran. That's what he's going to tell them.
Over all these countries. That's why they're all, you know.
So you don't think he's going to go after the lab?
He might have to. He might have to bomb them, but they'll do the right thing. He'll win with that too. Even if he's bombing them, he's winning. He's going to win on every. They may let him bomb them, so they can save face with their people. Like we stood up to the imperialist, but he'll win. Yeah. All right. Listen, we're going to take our last break. So, all right. Thanks for the call. And look who we have on the line, Steve. From the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca, William Youngerman. Hey, William Youngerman. Hey, I can tell by the smile in your voice, metals are looking good. How are the metals looking today?
Like you said, yes. We've had a beautiful correction for the precious metals over the last week while you were out on your trip, and The markets came back with a vengeance. Gold yesterday trading in a range of $2,974 on the low to a $3,024 high, and closing out the day down 50 cents at $2,982.70 the ounce. Silver was down 28 cents at $29.79. Platinum was up $3 at $916, and palladium was down $9 at $886. This morning, big reversal, and of course the metals are way up on China's announcement of a reciprocal tariff of 84%, and that took gold from a low of $2,968 all the way up to $3,073. At one point, over an $80 gain on gold this morning. Right now, we're up $66.30 the ounce at $3,049. Silver up 41 cents at $30.20 the ounce. Platinum down $1 at $915, and palladium up $2 at $888. So again, the gold leading the group and showing its real strength on just any kind of news right now. But the pullback has been great. We've seen a lot of Steve Kane listeners taking advantage of that dip over the last few days, and it looks to me that gold is still.
Yeah, speaking of China, there's. Do you have the some of the Chinese gold coins?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, can you talk about those? Because those are they're beautiful coins.
And we do sell them. They're not as popular anymore as the U.S. products or some of the other products, like from Australia and other mints, Canada. But we do have them in stock. They're very beautiful and popular with collectors also.
Yeah, but how are the American coins looking? The American Gold Eagle, the American Gold Buffalo, are those good buys right now?
Absolutely, yes. They're good buys. The premiums are starting to go up on some of the products. So we are seeing where the American Eagles and stuff were selling at very low premiums over the last few months have started to turn around and are being bid up. So we're going to see these premiums on gold coins probably getting higher and higher. So the price being $100 below gold, a great buying out.
Absolutely. Well, listen, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, excuse me, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. His phone number, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. And you can find both William's address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow. All right, now before we go back to the phones, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Steve, yesterday I went to the doctor, go to the doctor every once in a while. And it's the first time I've been to my doctor in quite some time. And it is the first time that I can remember in years where my blood pressure wasn't high. My blood, and I was talking, and I have given up my coffee. I've almost completely weeded out my coffee. But the main reason is I've lost so much weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I weigh now, Steve, less than I weighed when my daughter was born. And she's 26 years old now. So this is amazing. And, I just can't believe I've lost so much weight. I've not gone clothes shopping yet because I'm continuing to lose weight. And I'm going to continue to lose more because it's really easy with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I'm getting compliments on it. Not only is my blood pressure back to normal, which is nice because, when you have high blood pressure, you may not think you know it, but you do because you just don't feel good. And today I was kind of thinking, Steve, I feel kind of weird. And I realized it's not that I feel weird. I feel normal. And my blood vessels aren't about to give me a burst into a stroke on the air. Right? Even when I'm talking to these jerks on the line, my blood pressure is normal because I've lost so much weight. And you can too. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. When you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. All right, back to the phones. They're ringing off the hook here. Let's see here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
The gentleman about Supreme Court rulings, didn't Biden erase student debt for people when the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that, but he still continued to do that? Or am I...
No, he ignored some Supreme Court rulings. Yeah.
Yeah, so let him know that his buddy went and did that. So, I'm for Trump. Whatever he does is good for me. I don't have a lot in the market, maybe $20,000, $25,000. I'm sure it's less now. I'll just sit and wait. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
You got the right idea.
Yeah, and I love these people like Jay from Jersey. He obviously owns no stocks, right? But he's obsessed. And this other thing, he says, all these millionaires and billionaires are losing millions of dollars. Well, that should make the liberals happy. They always want the millionaires and billionaires to suffer. So what better way to have them suffer than the Dow go down?
I don't have a lot, $25,000, maybe close to 30. Now it's dropped, but I'm just going to sit and wait and ponder and see what happens because I don't need the money.
You got the right idea.
At the moment, and I'm just going to wait until the market goes back up. That's it,
All right, Joan, take care. All right, very smart. We have some wise callers and some, Yeah. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you? Just 2 quick points. I think, I'm sure Donald Trump knows the same thing that Gordon Chang knows, is that Xi in China is that major, not only political problems, but economic problems. And he knows he can't win this trade deal. The other thing is, a lot of countries that are around China have already cut deals with Donald Trump. I think we have like 70 countries that are already lined up to make a deal. And so far, I think we have one China who does it. But even, I think, South Korea, Vietnam, we had a war with, even the country that they want to invade, Taiwan, wants to cut a deal with us. And I think basically what we saw a panic move. And he knows he can't win it. And I think this, I'm not sure it'll be short term, but I don't think it'll be there'll be some type of negotiations to change this up a bit. But I think it was forced to do something when he saw everybody around him cutting deals and to placate his own political situation inside of China. And I think that's what happened last night.
Well, listen, in China, they got a lot of billionaires and millionaires over there that are in the ruling elite, and they own all these companies. They got to settle this. They're only going to take what do they call them? What do they call the crazy rich Asians, right? They're only going to sit around and take losses for so long when China can settle this, immediately.
Just like you have the oligarchs calling the shots in Ukraine, you got the same oligarchs, similar ones in China calling the same deal.
Yes.
They won't maintain this position very.
No, they can't.
I'm sure Trump was well aware of this before he got into this.
But China's dangerous. Like I say, we know what they did 5 years ago. Okay, so they're
But these guys want to hold on to power, so I think they'll cut a deal.
Mm-hmm. All right. Take care. Appreciate it. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, guys. Morning, Steve. The stock market on April 27, 2024 was 37,753. That's approximately a year ago. So all the screaming and yelling about the market is just such a bunch of hooey. It's insane. So nobody's lost anything. The people that ran the market up, they run the market down. There is a little bit of manipulation in there. You're right about that, Brian. But it's a non-event to me. But they use it to stir up trouble with people like Jersey J, and they get hyper about it. They get heated about it. But in the end they just don't know what they're talking about. It's kind of simple.
No.
But I'm going to say this about you. Had you showed this post from X from this guy Philip Anderson in the show.
Yeah.
0 Democrats arrested, investigated, or indicted. And I'm like, that guy to me, I mean, this is a tactic of the deep state to instill doubt.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This guy is supposedly, I don't know if this guy is MAGA or not. This is an easy thing to do. You just get on and you lie. I mean, investigated, there are so many Democrats being, they're not just Democrats. There are crimes being investigated. There's so damn many of them.
Yeah, but right after that, Dan Bongino said 2 days ago, there are a lot of things going on. We just don't know about them. And this administration aren't leaking things out like the last one was.
Yeah, Lawfare is sort of Lawfare is a movie of leaks. It's like a bad plumbing movie. Regular law, done by normal American patriotic people, they can't leak out information because you what do they call it? You taint the jury pool. Everything has to be done by the book by these guys, or they'll get crucified. And it's going to happen. Okay, it's coming. We're going to see people arrested.
Oh yeah, I promise you, there's grand juries going on right now, and grand juries are secret, and grand jury indictments can be sealed until they're ready to let us know about them. So it's no problem.
Because we're not hearing about them. If it
Correct.
was in power, we'd be hearing about 30. We'd know their first names and their dogs, where their dogs went for walks in the park.
Mm-hmm. All right, take care. All right, appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the... Yes?
How's everything? I'm going to call and tell you that
Ugh.
I cannot imagine that Donald Trump would go ahead and in his campaign and say, you know, gosh, if we elect Kamala, we're going to just have a economic break.
Kamala? We're not having an economic break? Okay, how much... Okay, we're almost out of time. You talk about an economic breakdown. How much money have you lost? How much money have you lost in the market?
None of your business.
None. Well, then you've lost none. You've lost none.
Remember in the presidential debate where
No. Excuse me. So you have no money in the market. So you've lost no money.
Hey, you arrogant little. Listen to me.
What?
Well, listen. You just like to talk, okay?
I'm an arrogant little what?
Brian. Hey, I don't want you to use that little button you're holding your finger on. So chill out.
Well, give me the first letter. I'm an arrogant little what?
$9 trillion. Okay.
So pick one of your stocks. What was it last week and what is it today?
Apple.
One of your stocks last week. Apple. Oh, okay. What was it last week and what is your Apple stock today?
Jesus, it was over $200 and something a couple months ago, Brian.
No. What was it last week and what is it today? Yeah.
Here, lucky.
All right. Oh my goodness. Another guy with no stocks that's worried about the stocks dropping, Steve. I mean, at least I tell you guys I don't own stocks. Okay? And, maybe that's why I don't worry about it so much, but I don't own stocks and these guys don't either. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back tomorrow at 6, and if you're on hold, you'll be first in line. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, is here. This is the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida on the radio since 1977. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right?
Brian Craig here. We're in studio with retirement advisor Jupiter Joe Thomas.